So y'all are just finished this battle with these wolf-like humanoid creatures, and all of them were slain except for two. One of them ran away to the northeast. The alpha was killed, two others were killed, and then the other one was charmed or presumably under the control somehow of this robed figure who was one of the people on the caravan. So now y'all are standing amidst the aftermath of the battle, and there's these two individuals that you just helped, teamed up with to kill the creatures, and this werewolf's still alive, but under the control of this robed figure. So there's this roguish-looking woman who's a dark elf, and this robed figure looks like a human. He's controlling the werewolf. Ellen, as she already introduced herself, would say to y'all again, appreciate the help, travelers. As I said, I am Ellen Gamenevis, and she would take a short bow, and this is my companion, Vactor, and we appreciate the help. We might not be standing here right now if it wasn't for your intervention. What does bring you out here on the Drax Road this evening? She would say to y'all. And then as she's saying that, Vactor kind of like goes up and taps this like werewolf on the shoulder, and the werewolf goes and starts to like presumably robotically under his control is going and like fixing the caravan. All these things have spilled out of it. And I think I said last time the caravan is like tipped over and broken and busted, and you can see a bunch of materials falling out of it, and included in that is some like plants of various sizes and types. Looks like they were coming from the forest. This is like on the slope of this hill that y'all are kind of standing right now. So it's kind of spilled out onto the grass, and you see bones, plants, and different pelts. And there's also bodies. It looks like humans. And there's pelts of like wolves, not necessarily like these larger man type wolves, just like normal wolves. And this werewolf under Vactor's control is going and like kind of setting up the caravan to like try to put the things back inside of it and maybe get it right side up. But yeah, Ellen would say that to y'all. And what brings you out here on the Drax Road this evening, and to Beckinsale presumably?
Yes. I was going to say to the Hell House, but I forgot what it was. The Beckinsale for sure. Where does that? Oh, it's in Google Drive, right?
Yeah, I was gonna bring up the map really quick.
Yeah, so the Drax Road is this northern road that bends around the Bashook Mountains it's just a long extending road from Wake all the way up northeast through around the Bashook Mountains and then through the forest, the beginning of the Forest of Shadows, which Beckinsale is in between kind of the vast expanse of this forest to the west and the east.
Yeah. Have some, just wanted to attend to some business in Beckinsale. You guys look like you have quite the goodies in tow there. What are you bringing out of the forest?
Yeah, she would say, well, Beckinsale is our home too, and we welcome such. And Ellen would look y'all like, or I guess you specifically, as you're talking to her, she'd look you up and down. She's like, we welcome such competent travelers. We were actually traveling into the forest today, hoping to find some trackers that we had previously sent into the forest to do a job for us. Speaking of which, have you seen these creatures before? This is what they were hired to inspect the surrounding area for these creatures. And she like looks to the caravan. She's like, we found them, but not all of them, and none of them were alive. Those that we did find. They hadn't returned, so we were sent to try and find them, and this is all we found.
As bizarre as it may sound, Sirocco and I have seen them before, only once, and it was a rather startling experience. We were in Wake, and we happened upon some kind of temple that had, presumably, we found one of these things that it was caged, but it had broken out and slaughtered everything in its path. Everyone in the temple. Thankfully, we avoided it because it was just two of us, so I don't think we could have taken it down by ourselves.
Vactor would speak up. He's like, interesting. And you do know that temple was a fellowship temple, which is like a religious order that's like the most popular in like.
It was It was a fellowship temple. I'm not sure why the creature was there, or what it was doing there, or how it got there, but that's what it was.
Well, it seems that these creatures, relatively recently, within the last 6 months or so, have begun to terrorize the surrounding area of Beckinsale, and the Forest of Shadows is where they have been haunting. And we expected to encounter the creatures. We've dealt with them before on our little ranging that we just did, but it seems they're getting more bold and they're getting more powerful. It seems that you might have noticed that their hides, while they look like that of wolves, cannot be killed as easily as wolves, and obviously they're bipedal. We're still gathering information on them. As I said, it's a relatively recent phenomenon. These are strange and interesting times we live in. Despite and he's like smiling as he says this, despite the increased danger within the Forest of Shadows from these man-wolf creatures, a new species perhaps, I would say that call me crazy, but it excites me. These things, I think, and now we've captured one, I think there's great potential. Me and Ellen plan to head back to Beckinsale. We're going to gather the caravan. You're welcome to join us and strengthen numbers, as I said. We appreciate y'all's help, and if y'all are headed to Beckinsale, we'll be happy to join you. That's where we're going to head back as well. It's where our caravan was headed.
Just a quick question for Dylan, not for the NPCs. Like, which direction was the caravan traveling? It was going away from Beckinsale or towards Beckinsale?
The caravan came from like the forest up here, so like it was headed down. Sure. It was headed in this direction. Beckinsale's here. Y'all came from here.
Okay, makes sense.
Can I roll an insight check to see if I kind of have an idea of what he means by like potential?
Yeah.
Like, could I?
Yeah, you can roll an insight on him speaking about that. Yeah. So you get the sense that from his attire and from like kind of the magic he was using in the fight, that he shares perhaps a similar set of skills and abilities as you. And being a magic user, he kind of has this gleam in his eye. He sees these vicious creatures which are difficult to kill, and like as he said, and you obviously haven't seen these creatures before, it's like a relatively new species. So he's thinking in the mindset of like a scientist almost, is how he said that. He's like thinking in terms of the potential to study this new species.
So what line of work exactly are you guys in?
Ellen would just smile at that and then look to Vactor. Vactor would say, well, we do a bit of everything. We call us explorers, but we have you not heard of have you been to Beckinsale before?
This would be my first time.
Yeah. Most of our party.
As I said, my name is Vactor Loxus. This is Ellen Gamanivus. These names hold some weight. You don't know because you've never been to Beckinsale, but we're kind of a big deal. Our families are, that is. And we like to know what's happening in and around Beckinsale in detail. Both of our families in tandem. We're kind of and he would look at Ellen. Ellen's just like smirking, and then she says,
I'm gonna insight check this dude.
We have a bit of an alliance right now, is what she would say, and Vactor would just nod. Yeah, I mean it seems he's speaking candidly right now. He's just he's almost you can sense the level of arrogance in what he's saying, obviously through his words and his tone.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Mirmo at all?
Mirmo Zendaya, this traveler, you know her? Yes, I am familiar with her. She's dwarven, speaks in a flowery. Yes, Why do you ask?
Oh, I was just curious if you could maybe
dropped off.
Point us in her direction, or.
I'd say yes. Mirmo and her partner have made Beckinsale their temporary home. They're performing, and he would look at Ellen again. Ellen's not smiling. And they're performing some kind of investigation on something. But yes, they should be. I think they've made their base of operations the Black Wand. It's the inn right in the front of town. You couldn't miss it. If that's who you're looking for, they'd probably be there. Haven't interacted with her much, but she's rather odd, and any outsider to Beckinsale, pretty much no matter what, has a lot to learn. So that's to you as well, all of you being newcomers.
Well, I mean, if we have a lot to learn, then maybe someone as charismatic and magnanimous as himself could accompany us into town and show us,
We'll,
a good old
you
Beckinsale
can
welcome.
you can come with us to the gate, but I'm certainly no host. We have a lot to do. Ellen would say, yeah, like, and Ellen moves to the caravan as well, and she's packing it up alongside this zombified movement of this werewolf servant.
Okay. Well,
I think we'd still appreciate you just taking us to the gate at least. And I don't know if y'all have any trouble with normally letting travelers in your town, but still be greatly appreciated for you to escort us there. Put in a good word for us, per se, with the gatemen.
Sure, we definitely will tell them. Beckinsale doesn't welcome outsiders, let's say, but they'll certainly let you in. And but yeah, we'll vouch for the guards. What's your intervention, let's say?
thanks. That'd be appreciated.
And he would move over to the caravan as well, and they're just trying to like repair it. Like the wheels are still intact. It's just it fell over and like a part of it broke, but it looks like they can get it up and running. And it's only going to have one horse because the other one got eviscerated. Probably take another like 15 minutes or so for them to get the caravan up, right? But y'all still have y'all's caravan as well, which is still intact and everything.
Okay. I'll go help them like try to put it back together. And maybe also while I kind of go offer to help, I kind of like check stuff out and see if I can notice anything about the dead. See if I can notice anything about like the thing that the giant wolf was eating.
Okay.
Investigation, maybe?
Yeah. So if you walked over to help, Ellen would kind of like look you over, and she would say, "Yep, I think we got it from here. We have more than enough help."
Okay.
If you looked at y'all kind of saw it in the fight. The alpha wolf was eating it was a humanoid figure, and it just looked like it's a human wearing tattered, ripped up clothing. And at this point, it had eaten most of its it's now chunks basically. It had done its work, and it had started to heal itself. I think Sirocco and Darian had saw that it started to heal itself after eating this body that one of its servants had thrown out before it. So you do notice that. And then just looking at like kind of what they're putting away in the caravan is more of like what I said, where it's like there's some random bones, some like wolf skulls, wolf pelts, and some plants that the caravan is full of, like to the brim.
Cool. Go over to Ellen and I say, "Oh man, these wolf guys look pretty hungry. They're eating quite a bit of food. What was he working on there?"
That right there. Roll me a persuasion check to see how well that inquiry goes.
Nice. I have dope persuasion. Yeah.
Yeah. She kind of smiles at you, and she was like looking you over earlier. She looks you over again. She's like, "Yeah, it looks like you got a hold of one of our trackers, but he was dead. But now I'm beginning to think that maybe." We don't know the nature of these things yet, but we have our theories, Vactor and I. And I think this thing is a disease or an arcane transference of a bestial nature that can move from creature to creature. From over these course of these 6 months, their population, this new species, has grown in the Forest of Shadows, and presumably it's spread to more and more persons, and there's been more than a fair share of Beckinsale, the largest city in the region, as long as some smaller villages and towns where people have gone missing and bodies were never found. Nothing was ever found. And
wow.
I think that some of our trackers that we sent to inspect the area, try to find out where these things were living, were eaten. Some of them might have been the very creatures we just killed. I think they're capable of transforming into these once they've been infected. And I think that man right there that now is no more than a pile of blood and a bunch of chunks, I think that wasn't a human anymore, even if he looked like it. And based on what it was doing to this creature, it perhaps was one of its own kind, and they feed on their own. I'm not sure, but it's a work in progress. Me and Vactor, this is one of the things that we have been sent to help determine, among other things.
So how would you say the disease is transferred? Some of us took some heavy hits from those guys.
Right. Don't know, but I would assume bite.
Oh, good.
And just to y'all's characters would definitely remember this, but by my count, Mallow, Sirocco, and Darian all got bit at some point and didn't pass the Constitution check. So, yeah,
Oh.
I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm positive on Malice and Sirocco.
I know Malice didn't.
Yeah, I'm positive on Malice and Sirocco. Darian, I'm pretty sure. I know you got hit, and I'm pretty sure I made you roll a Constitution. Which minute was a bite? You got hit a couple times, I think. But like, if it was a claw, there's no Constitution. If it was a bite, there was. And I think I made you roll.
The only one that I see is an 18 Constitution save.
Okay, so maybe you rolled one.
I don't think I got affected.
You got bit.
Yeah.
You got bit.
Werewolf party.
But you did pass the Constitution.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So she would say that's something we need to figure out, but it's pretty difficult to determine that, if that makes sense. Most of the people that have gone hunting these things have not come back. We don't really know. Well, maybe we do know how to kill them now. And she would like look around, like, y'all have magical blades? I know I do. She has a rapier.
Yep.
No,
yeah, we do.
It certainly helps.
I'm useless without it. I don't have anything.
You have your fists.
It'd be nice if there was a chest around that I could open.
Yeah, where's the
I got any fucking loot since the very first time we ever played.
we got overloaded on the loot to start. We gotta filter it down a little bit.
I got no loot. Still using a dirty old vanilla spear.
Well,
You gotta help me out, DM.
so no one in town would really know how to cure this type of thing. There's not really been any cases where.
No, not yet. I mean, Vactor would speak up. It's like it's a disease, it's a curse, some other manner of arcane transference, as I said, that transforms you into them. We don't necessarily have proof that they even spread it that way or how they spread it. So no, there's a lot of unknowns, but there's certainly ways to cure diseases and remove curses. It's just
Fair
a matter
enough.
of understanding the nature of it.
Yeah. I guess Darren speak up, and I'm looking through my spell book, and I think I might know something. I don't have it prepared, but I might know something that might be able to help cure us of our ailments. But again, we don't really know exactly what it is, so we'd at least try, though.
And he would go up and slap the wolf creature still under his control. Like, well, we've got a live specimen, and the sooner we get this back to Beckinsale, the better. I think the caravan's ready to go. If y'all have your own caravan, but we can ride in single file up the remainder of the Drax Road. Beckinsale's, as you can see, is within distance. It's only a mile up. The longer we linger out in the night, more dangerous.
Good point. Let's get
Let's
going.
go.
Yep.
I slide up to Sirocco. No good deed goes unpunished, I guess.
I guess so.
Look at my bite wound.
Yeah. So y'all travel up the remainder of the road. You get to the gates of Beckinsale, and kind of just before you get there, a couple of things happen. You see in the distance, as you're walking up, you can see in the distance, and you get closer, you can see that there's a group of kind of like well-armed men with cloaks on that have surrounded something, and they kind of clear out, they're moving around, and it looks like they have surrounded the body of something. And if you were to look closer, you see it's one of the werewolves, or the main wolf creatures that might have been the one that fled northward up the road that was fleeing from your battle, kind of near the gate. And you would walk by them if you wanted to interact with them. And then another thing that happens is, I guess, Sirocco, you're still carrying the Xavier figurine, the Raven figurine, I mean.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You would, wherever it is in your pack, or maybe it's in the caravan, you would hear it. You would hear like wings fluttering, and the Raven would just emerge from your pack, or would start like fluttering out of your pack, or fluttering out of the caravan, kind of out of the blue. And it would start flying through the air, kind of near you in a circle, and then go and land atop the caravan, kind of like cocking its head and looking. Y'all are now pretty close to the gates of Beckinsale. It's right after you pass these hunters, these cloaked figures, and it would say, "Beckinsale, I've been here before."
Get back in the bag. You didn't summon you.
Ah, the fresh air. Finally. It's been 6 months. You know, I can still see everything that's going on when I'm in the Onyx figurine. Time's passing for me normally.
Oh God.
Xavier, what do you know about this place?
Beckinsale. Secrets. Madness. Spooks. Magic.
Well, this is
You're gonna be cryptic.
Get back in the
pack.
fucking bag. You haven't helped one guy. You got about 10 seconds, and you waste all of them. Gone. You're gone.
The aura of the city. We watch yourselves, and it's like woo, and it goes back into the.
Yeah, no shit. We got fucking attacked by man wolves.
It goes back, and then like the last is like here's you say it's like man wolves, and then it goes back into the figurine. So I got a little
I tossed it
Beckinsale.
up to myself, and I hit it into the trees with my staff.
What the fuck?
I soft tossed it to myself. It's gone.
Are you sure you want to do
What?
that?
No.
I vowed never to ask. Are you sure everything's canon?
But
as
he
soon as
gets
you say
one
it.
more chance.
Was that one of his chances?
No, okay. No, it's back in the bag, the satchel.
Okay. So yeah, that happens. Pass by these hunters on the way to the gate. Map should have changed.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're behind you. Ellen is at the one horse. Caravan's moving kind of slower because it's half horsepower. And then they're just right behind you as they pass by into the gate. So y'all just go in.
Is the gate on the bottom left of the map where the X is? Or
Yes, that's like just past the gate. So the gate would be like here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I guess we headed.
Are there any guards on the wall or anything?
There are, but the gate's open, and it looks like these like hunters or these people who killed the werewolf are dragging its body in on like a rope. So the gates are being opened at the same time, and the guards would just call down to you. It'd be like, it's like, please let Captain Dance's men pass. Are you travelers? You arriving here at Beckinsale? Such a late hour. It's lucky that wherever you came from, you arrived at all. But please wait for them to pass, and then you can come in. We'll leave the gates open for you and those behind you.
Aren't the two people in front of us?
No, they're
Or-
behind you. I mean,
Oh,
y'all,
okay.
y'all were going first because y'all have, I guess, y'all probably have a 2-horse
Okay.
caravan, so it's able to move faster. Unless you wanted them to go ahead of you, then you could do that as well.
Yeah, I was thinking they'd be in front just because
Yeah,
they
they can
knew the way. And
You just be like, we're with Vector and Ellen. They're right out of the
they're
way.
escorting us. Yeah.
Yeah, they would let you in then. If they were first, they would, without even saying anything.
Yeah.
But the gates are already open because of something getting carried in.
Is it the same? So it's a different one than we killed? Or we're pretty
Well,
sure
you
it's a
knew
different
that
one?
one of them escaped, and it
Yeah.
headed like it ran away
Oh.
and fled the battle, and it was going northeast, which just happens to align with the direction that Beckinsale's gate was.
Ah, okay. Interesting. Do any of the men who are dragging it in look particularly like well equipped, like fighters? Like,
Yeah, they do.
Like, okay, cool.
I forgot. Yeah. So y'all kind of like pass them once y'all get into the city proper, and you're along this road right here. Y'all kind of able to pass them because they're on foot dragging this in, and y'all are on horses, and they would kind of wave their hand greeting Ellen and Vactor's caravan, and then y'all would pass by them, and you see kind of like the head guy, one of the ones carrying this werewolf body, looks at y'all and be like, y'all travelers, friends of Ellen and Vactor's, or
Acquaintances, more like it.
Yeah.
And the other guy kind of like overhearing this would look over and be like, travelers into Beckinsale at this hour, at this time of year, during such increasingly murderous wolfman activity in the woods? Bold.
We actually just came to see the show.
May I know you? Came to see what?
We
The
just
city?
came to see Mirmo's show. We heard of, she's a legendary poet and artist, so we just wanted to come see her.
Mirmo. I'm not familiar with this legendary poet or artist. In Beckinsale?
We have business with a colleague here.
Okay. Well, best of luck. In Beckinsale, it's best to not be outside the gates after dark, because you might run into something like this. And he's like pointing back to the body.
Yeah, we would hate to run into that.
Yeah, that'd be a bummer.
It would be a real bummer.
Too bad I didn't.
And then the other guy that kind of greeted y'all initially would be like, "Hey, don't laugh. We've lost a lot of men." And they would just
I was
continue
not
walking.
laughing. Darian was not laughing.
I'm assuming y'all are all in character, so those are laughs in their faces.
I'm gonna mute the fuck out of my mic to make sure the laughs are muted.
Malice laughed in character.
Okay.
We've lost a lot of men.
Sorry to hear that. Well, hopefully
We've
we
lost
can
one man.
put a stop to that
I can
soon.
relate.
So y'all would like pass them by, and then Ellen's the one on like at the reins of the horse, and then Vactor's the one on the back of the caravan, and he would, as y'all are like kind of passing it by, he would point to the left. He's like, "That's the Black Wand. If that's the most likely place your friend or your colleague Mirmo would be. We need to head back to our homes in the city, but perhaps we may cross paths again."
I hope so. It was good fighting alongside you.
Same to you. Thanks again for the help. And they would kind of head up the road, continuing down into the city proper. So there's this in the Black Wand. It's pretty large. It's multiple stories. No, it's the one with the X in front of it. So it's like it's before getting into like the main area of the city. There's this inn that's kind of secluded out here, and yeah, it's called the Black Wand. It's 2 stories. It's pretty large tavern / inn.
Cool. I hop off the caravan and open the door.
Okay, so as you're walking up, you see it's a 2-story timber-framed building, several stained glass windows. And I have a little map here. You walk inside, and it's not bustling. There's a few people sitting at various tables, barkeepers walking around. There's several barkeeps, one behind the counter, one of them walking around serving drinks. And you see in the corner to the left 2 dwarves, and looks like at least one of them fits the description of Mirmo.
I casually, I don't know, what do you guys want to do? Might just go order a drink at the bar so I look inconspicuous.
Yeah, we'll let you lead the way.
I'll casually walk.
That's the first thing Malice does in any bar is goes and gets a drink.
Okay, I nudge Malice and be like, "Hey, Malice, let's go grab a drink."
I'm down.
Get your characters in there.
What's the atmosphere in there?
It's not very live. I mean, like I said, it's not bustling or anything. It's not like lively and like loud. It's kind of like people keeping to themselves, drinking at their tables, and then the person fitting the description of Mirmo and her partner Ginmus are over by like a fire. Kind of Grimace is leaned back. Mirmo's looking at a book. It's kind of quiet.
Does anyone like say anything to us as we enter, or is it pretty like?
No, it's
whatever?
just kind of like freewheeling open door.
Cool.
Swing door.
Do we see a question mark above their heads when we walk in?
You see an exclamation point? Yeah.
Yeah, press icon. Yeah, just to make sure we're walking up to our people.
Ugh. So yeah, I put y'all's characters in there.
Malice has his lute out and he's playing a spooky tune.
You do notice the male dwarf. He's kind of like well armored, more so than the female dwarf. He kind of glances up at y'all as soon as you walk in, but doesn't make any motion or movement. But you do.
Are you
notice
playing with
his eyes on you.
the spooky flute or the spooky with your lute?
I'm playing a spooky tune with my lute.
Okay, because don't you have like a flute?
I have the haunted pipes, but I'm not trying to make a bunch of people scared, right?
Yeah, Dylan would have like killed us on the spot if we were doing that. So gotta be careful.
Would it kills you on the spot?
No, I'm just kidding. It's just that I didn't want the curse pipes playing yet.
I'll play my cursed pipes whenever I damn well please, Darian.
Trying to get the cursed pipe, Darian?
Darian's trying to catch the cursed pipe. Yeah.
So if you walked up to the bar, you'd get greeted by a small female halfling, and she has a apron on. She says, "What can I do you for?" The name is Malia.
Amalia?
Malia. M-A-L-I-A.
You can call me Quilly. I'll have house special.
House special today is, let's see, salted bear, almond bread, and cider. But if you don't like cider, we've got mead and bitter.
I see. How about just a nice cup of mead then?
All right.
I will have some salted bear.
Yeah, that sounds
House
delicious.
specials,
Right now.
all specials all around.
And I will also sub the cider for mead.
No food for me. I'll just have the drink. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll get
Darren,
the house specials.
I've never had bear before. I'm pretty excited.
That's actually surprising
it's
for
like-
Malice.
I don't know. Do you think it's like hibernation bear, where it's like fat, or it's like lean
Ooh.
bear?
Like fatty tuna versus like normal.
Yeah. Is it Wagyu bear?
It's gotta be. It's gotta be massaged with the meat that we're.
Get this bear in my belly.
Okay. Yeah, she takes y'all's orders. Sirocco, you order anything?
Meat.
Just a meat?
Yep.
All right. That's just some
I'll just
copper
say one.
y'all could afford easily.
Cool. -2 copper.
Yeah. Y'all could also roll perception checks. After she takes your order and kind of like turns and like starts filling up the mead and then goes to the kitchen.
What's that? A perception check?
Perception.
My special allies?
Yeah. That's pretty bad.
It's not good.
Darian is a plus
We're all
0
pretty
perception.
mediocre.
A lot of low wisdom in this party.
Yeah, we're not
Sirocco
civilized.
probably
We're-
is high
We're just a
wisdom.
gang of thugs.
I'm just a charismatic fire boy.
Yeah, I got some.
Yeah, I'm charismatic and strong.
I'm a charismatic strong boy as well.
We're all charismatic.
We all min-max. We all min-max charisma strength.
Fuck.
Darian, you notice that behind and Sirocco, maybe you especially, Sirocco, kind of dealing with the things you've dealt with in your life. You see behind her apron, still on the front side of her like person, but she has an apron on, and then around her belt behind the apron, you can see a knife on the front side of her person, but it's not like, you know what kind of knife an innkeeper in like a town like this would probably be using. And this knife looks a little bit more high-end than that. And Sirocco, you can actually see in like the split second of light hitting that area while she turns, maybe the apron flitters up a little bit. It's like some jewels on the hilt of this knife, which more looks like a dagger. It doesn't look like it's for cutting salted bear.
Okay.
Whenever we were walking through the town, retroactively, I guess, did we notice like a lot of people armed, like as well? Like
Well,
a
you haven't
stand
really, if you
sale, or
stopped here, you haven't really walked into the town proper
that's
yet,
true.
because y'all came in the gate, and then like the end's right here on the left, right at the beginning of town.
that's fair.
So really, all you passed by was those hunters carrying the werewolf, and then
Mhm.
Ellen and Vactor. But there's about like 7 or 8 other people in the inn, and some of them are look like adventurers, like y'all that have weapons. Some of them look like commoners, but they're all, like I said, they're all kind of like quietly having conversations or having meals. If you looked around, passive perception, you could see the bear, and it looks pretty tasty. Other people have gotten it. It's the house special. At this
Give me
point,
that bear.
so y'all are starting to get served, and you would see a figure walk up behind you. It's the female dwarf they're both kind of well armored, like in like what looks like pretty nice armor, and they look like, I mean, you know that Mirmo, from what Faye told you, is a cleric, and Grinmus looks like he's just like a warrior. He has weaponry and heavy armor on him, and you'd see the female dwarf walk up behind you. Or she gets at the bar also, kind of in between you right here. And she would say like, "Hey, Malia, can I have another mead?" She's like, "Coming right up." She's like, kind of serves it to y'all at the same time. And Mirmo starts to look y'all over. Like, "Hi, my name's Mirmo."
Hi, we're looking for you.
Yeah, we start looking her over.
She's like, "Oh, really? Are you the gang that Faye sent?
Yep, we're the
The Flash.
gang.
That's us.
How exciting." Faye, she's had a lot to say about y'all, so I'm excited to get to know y'all. We've got a bit of a. She looks back to Grinmus and then to y'all. They're like, "Well, y'all can come sit over at our table before the fire." Grinmus, these are them. What are y'all's names?
I'm Malos.
Darian.
Malos, Darian,
Sirocco.
Sirocco, and then you must be Quilly.
Yep.
I would have liked to have met Crunan. He was another one of your party, yes? I guess he couldn't make it.
He had other business to attend to, unfortunately.
Of course. Come, join us, and you can have your meals while we discuss what it is that y'all are here to do.
We're going to find out. I hope it doesn't involve being bitten by more man wolves. because we already had that happen.
The man-wolves, you've encountered them? Grinmus and
It was
I
quite a
have,
scare.
we've been in the,
Yes,
been
it
in
was
the
a very
town
close encounter.
for a couple months now, and we've only heard about them. We haven't ventured into the forest ourselves. We have too much to do, but what were they like? I've heard they're vicious and very difficult to bring down, but I guess your reputation precedes you if you survived such a attack.
Vicious
we
is
killed them pretty
definitely
easily.
accurate.
No, it definitely tried to eat me, and it was a super unpleasant experience.
Grinmus would look at y'all. He kind of introduced himself. He's like, "My name's Grinmus Battle Fate. It looks like you've already met my companion, Mirmo Zendaya Greygrim. And I think y'all already roll for like knowing what Greygrim. Greygrim is the name of a city. Y'all know. I think y'all rolled last time.
Yeah, I think we rolled for that.
Yeah, so y'all know that's a city in like the Blackstone Mountains that is like a dwarven stronghold. That's pretty. In past times, it was more prominent politically, but it's still just like a large population center of dwarves. But Grimace would introduce himself, and he would kind of be hearing about this battle. He'd say, "Any of y'all get bit?"
Yeah, I mean, I did just say it tried to eat me, didn't I?
Might be worth. He looks at Mirmo, checking that out. Mirmo, they don't really know how these things work yet, but they're going to be working with us. Mirmo's like, of course, but we can look at that later. There's a lot to discuss. Do you all know why Faye sent you here? And presumably she told you my message.
It sounds like we have a haunted house to deal with.
Grinmus would start chuckling. She's like, well, that's one way to put it. Well, like I said, me and Grinmus have been here for about 2.5 months now, and I don't know what y'all know about Beckinsale, but it's a place of grand mystery, among other things. And as of late, it's been a place not only of mystery, but of murder, madness, and mayhem. Of the maliciously paranormal kind. And
I approve of that alliteration.
thank you. That's why we're here. Grinmus and I, Grinmus has been with the organization much longer. We're members of a group of investigators from the Fellowship tasked with investigating exactly these kinds of things. But this is a more extreme case than I've ever encountered. I haven't been on the job as long as Grinmus, but he would say the same thing. And in the time we've been here in the town, speaking with these folks, hitting the books, and she kind of holds up the book she's reading, was reading whenever y'all walked in. We've never been to Beckinsale either. Grinmus has, actually, but it was years ago, and it's not the same as it used to be. And in this time, I've learned much of the town's history, and much more concerning the curious story of this manor, the place that we are tasked with investigating, the thing that y'all are here to help with. It is locked quite closely with the lore of this town, especially within the last century, a time in which events have been most chaotic, and why Beckinsale has gathered a bit of a reputation. The manor causing these strange problems now are these types of problems are not unfamiliar to Beckinsale, but this manor and why it's emanating from it is because of this place's particular deep and dark history. This manor belonged in the century past, to the Manicchus family. It was one of 3 major families which, over the course of this city's history, had come to dominate the civics of what went on here. And most importantly, it was these 3 families, the Manicchus family, the Loxus family, and the Gamanivis family, who dictated the terms of who was allowed to participate in what went on here. And the most important thing that went on in Beckinsale, still goes on today, is the town's Bacchanal, which is a biannual ritualistic festival of sorts. Beckinsale kind of keeps the truth of what it really is hidden. I had to do a lot of research. We had to ask a lot of people, Grinmus as well, to figure out what it really is. It's one of apparent magical merrymaking, is what they would tell other settlements. But what we've found is it's more a festival, as I said, ritualistic, in that there's some manner of supernatural deal-making that goes on with... Do y'all know how warlocks work? The magic of warlockdom. I presume that y'all are familiar with it. She would look to y'all.
I think so. I happen to be a warlock.
No.
Yes.
Spend time with Quilly.
Warlocks are very interesting in that they draw their power from a patron. And obviously, Equilibrio, you would know this. I'm not going to ask who your patron is. I know Warlocks, Grinmus would speak up. It's like, you kind of touchy about that. But I think patrons and Warlocks are fascinating to me. And in the same mode of the relationship between Warlock and patron, so do these families have a relationship with rather powerful and rather mysterious supernatural beings. And that's part of what the purpose, and mind you, a secret purpose, at least to outsiders to Beckinsale, don't know about what the Bacchanal really is for. And each family was said during these biannual festivals to make and renew their pacts each year with these beings. And the greatest power, of course, rested with the families which could make the greatest pacts, namely that of the Gamma-Nivis, Loxus, and Manicchus families. Now, I'm speaking of events 100 years prior to now and before that. And the terms of these events at the Bacchanal determine who is within Beckinsale's hierarchy. That's how these three families got their name, how they established themselves as the most powerful, as well as providing a platform for the lesser families to try to make their mark. In the past, this event was a hopeful spectacle. Now, I believe it is a very different kind of spectacle, and that all started 100 years ago, as I said. It is not scheduled to occur here for a few months, and I certainly intend to be there to observe it when I can. But all of this is really ancillary to what we are really here for. And then Grinmus would speak up. Centuries ago, Beckinsale existed as a frontier town, which was very much isolated from the rest of the world, and thus insulated from many worldly conflicts. However, between these three families and the lesser families, there was internal conflicts. And looking back at this place's history, the bottom line is that Beckinsale wasn't always like this. Some would say what you see now and what Beckinsale that people know now through rumors, supernatural events, murder, madness, and mayhem, as my alliterative friend said earlier. It's increased now, and that's why we're inspecting this manor. But in reality, this place, like Eslock, if you've heard of it, they call them sister cities, even though they're half a world away. It's because crazy shit happens here, and it's a huge problem. And honestly, I'm a bit surprised they haven't sent us in earlier. Those of the Lumen Lucertia, that's the fellowship organization Mirma was talking about earlier. We're here now to inspect this manor, but honestly, we should have taken care of this place a long time ago. Either way, 100 years ago, there was the beginning of an event which changed this place's history for all time. In those days, and in the history books even now, has a rather mundane name, something called the Creep, also known as the Corruption, started, and it changed the makeup of this town. Mirma would speak again. This Creep, it's a corruption, relentless and nameless. It started to spread throughout the town and into the nearby wilderness, the Forest of Shadows and the Mad Moors, where, I guess, coming from Wake, you would have passed by those. It was during this time they were renamed as such. And this creep, this corruption, started somewhere within Beckinsale, and for a long time they didn't know where or how it happened. Those it touched became known as the corrupted. They became hateful, spiteful, wasteful, manipulative, nefarious, destructive, ultimately malevolent. And the town began to revolt against itself. And in the midst of all this corruption, two of the three families, the Gamma-Nivis and Loxus families, started an inquisition to try to figure out where this corruption had come from. It had lasted for several years at that point. And following the Bacchanal, they started to institute a particularly memorable Bacchanal. They started to institute a new order of things. They began to furiously root out the minor families afflicted, exiling entire broods from the town. They began shadow wars against one another as their own became afflicted, attempting to excise the family members most seen to be a threat. Their investigation didn't turn up much as far as the cause, those responsible, how it started, the origin point. But the whole town, during this inquisition, was thrown into disarray as it was slowly consumed by the madness of this creeping corruption. Ultimately, no one knew how to stop it or where it might have come from. Some posited that they were being punished by their own gods, those they were making deals with at the Bacchanal. Others thought it had come from within the forest, a new organism which had to be understood or perhaps dealt with. Others, what eventually became the majority of the town, found a rather convincing scapegoat. And Grinmus would speak again. The Manicchus family. When it was all said and done, after a couple years of the outbreak, one thing was inescapably clear. The Manicchus family, the entirety of the Manicchus clan, was the only family unaffected. Malice Manicchus and his misfit clan were doing just fine in the midst of what was the town's worst crisis. And Mirmo would speak up. She would say, the Manicchus family was perhaps the least understood, least really known about the family. They were a clan of misfits, as Grinmus said, and they didn't consort with the town outside of the Bacchana. They usually kept to themselves, and for that, because of this unknown, everybody resented them. You tend to fear, perhaps hate, what you don't know. And the history books tell it this way, that the Manicchus family oversaw their own brand of investigation and observation of the corruption from within their own manor, secluded from everybody else, via magically and mostly unknown means. They avoided intervening at all within the town, as I said. And the other families, of course, saw this as a mix of cowardice, and even more so, likely some kind of nefarious machination. The Gamma-Nivus and Loxus families, the two primary other families that oversaw the town, saw it as proof that they had been the ones that had caused the corruption, and it didn't take long before the majority of the town consented and agreed, and they took justice into their own hands. Some of the other prominent families, the lesser families trying to make their name, teamed up with the Gamma-Nivus and Loxus family, the Holts, the Idrics, the Jorets, among others. They put on an all-out assault upon the Manicchus Manor, where center of town, right in the central hub of the market square of Beckinsale, whereas the Gamma-Nivus family and the Loxus family have their manors on the outside of town. Y'all haven't traveled inside the town yet, but I would point this out whenever y'all walk through. The tale goes that the siege lasted, if you can call it that, upon a house, upon a manor. The siege lasted only 2 days, and by the end they had gotten in. Gyrnimus would take a deep breath, and he would look to Mirmo. Mirmo would nod to him. What they found inside was appalling, gruesome, the most horrific things imaginable. The true detail within the historical facts is sparse, but essentially the Manicchus family, namely Malice Manicchus, had been hosting people there and other entities, such as demons from the abyss, vampiric spirits, grand immortal viziers. As I said, the details are sparse, but essentially they had been communing with entities from hellish places, horrors from beyond. Malice and his clan were inviting entire families, by inviting I mean doing it without their consent, within Beckinsale into their home, capturing them, proceeding to torture, rape, murder. All manner of horrific activity was going on within the house, and this is what Gamma-Nivus, Loxus, and the other families had found. They had been causing all kinds of insane suffering upon their subjects for the better part of a year or so, maybe even before that, as far as they could tell. But that wasn't even the worst part. The magics they had unlocked had caused these missing persons who were from the Gamma-Nivus and the Loxus houses, and the Idric house, and the Holt house. These missing persons were unaccounted for. No one knew they had gone missing, as in these people were forgotten, and it was never really explained why. It was perhaps because of the nature of the infernal magics they were using, but no one missed these people, and that's why it took so long for them to find what was going on within the Manicchus household. But through all of this, the powers that be within Beckinsale discovered that the Manicchus family had been doing this kind of a performative violence to a certain dark god, even darker. Any of the gods, any of the lesser families had tried to commune with in the Bacchana. No one knew which gods the Manicchus family were communing with. But in the basement of the house, they found the core of this violence they were doing. They were performing a rather esoteric, continuous ritual, which had steadily been bleeding this corruption into the town and its people. Of course, they hashed all this out after the fact, but after the siege was complete and they were in, they rather swiftly, with all the other families supporting their mission, proceeded to kill each member of the Manicchus family within the manor, including the patriarch Malice. With their newfound powers and connections made at their latest Bacchana, they were able to overcome the Manicchus family. They had caught them by surprise, presumably. Malice and the others fell. The ritual ended, but not before dispelling everyone from the house, among other things, causing more than a few deaths from members of these other families, including the Gamma-Nivus and Loxus. The manor was left intact, however, and was from then on considered too dangerous to enter again from the the remnants of the magic that had been performed. But folks here have said for years this all happened exactly, maybe not exactly, but about 100 years ago. And folks here now say that the corruption that spawned from the Manicchus Manor never quite left. And thus, we come to now. And it appears that the problems that are occurring currently in Beckinsale are centering around the manor, which, as I said, still is held up today. And it's returned in force. And Mirmo would say the manor, from my understanding, is something of a legend here, and this nightmarish myth we've just laid out has been used to strike fear into an already fearsome people. No small thing. And as you learned from our letter and why we've requested your help, it's currently affecting things here in the city more directly and worse than ever before. There have been countless instances of disappearances, murders, and the makings of insane flights of fancy, leading to disastrous and deadly results. There seems to be an aura, perhaps a return of the old way, of this compulsive corruption emanating from the manor. And something that Grinmus didn't mention, maybe I didn't mention in my letter either, there's a key bit of information, perhaps not surprising given this history. All the victims thus far within Beckinsale, which we can link back up to coming from magics emanating from the Manicchus household, have exclusively been members of the Gamma-Nivus and Loxus households. Now, she would pause at this point, kind of letting y'all like take all that in, because it was a lot. But Grinmus would say, we could get down to business. If you have any questions, we can ask, but it comes to what we think should happen next and what the plan is, essentially. But if y'all have any questions, please ask. There's a lot more than we just said. That was basically the summary of the context of what's happening here.
Quilly's kind of like raising his eyebrow, one of his eyebrows. It's like, that's pretty fucked up. So you're telling us this ridiculously crazy family held a ritual, and now they're essentially back from the grave, haunting the families that vanquished them.
He's like nodding his head. Mirmo would he does actually like Grinmus, as you say that, he does the exact Alonzo Mourning gif. He's like but then Mirmo would say, well, there's no evidence that the members of the Manicchus family, of the diverse and crazy kooks that they were, that they are back, but something within the manor, and this leads into my next point, but the manor itself is the locus point of what's happening. That's what we wanted to get at, and whether it's tied to the history of what happened to the Manicchus family or not is almost a certainty, but we haven't proven that. It can't just be a coincidence, given the other cases I've worked on, but there's no agency behind what's happening. It's just Beckinsale's filled with dark magics. There's the Gamma-Nivus and Loxus families. There's all kinds of rumors about what they get up to, but Beckinsale's a city of warlocks, necromancers, people like myself that are merely interested in the supernatural and spiritual phenomenon of the world, and others who wish to use it to exploit or gain powers beyond what mortals really should have in their hands. And Gridmus would pipe up, be like, Beckinsale's fucked up. Always has been. There's just, things are worse now, and that's why we're here. But as I said earlier, I think we should have gotten here a lot sooner, at least our organization. And y'all can roll, I guess, whenever you mention the Lumen Lucertia, y'all can roll a history check on what that is. Wow. So Malos, maybe this is lore. You know about Lumen Lucertia. It's a organization of like spiritual like cops almost that are very concerned with spiritual, supernatural phenomenon happening in the world, and it's like organized and backed by the Fellowship, which is a religious organization that kind of venerates and tries to uphold the divine entities in the world, all divine entities, at least the goodly kind. And they are like the ones that head up this organization called the Lumen Lucertia. So Lumen Lucertia, and then that festival they kept mentioning is a weird name. That's how you spell it. The Bacchana. But Mirmo would say, yes, but the manor is the key, and the reason we called you here, and the reason me and Grinmus, who were the only ones assigned out here to deal with this by the Lumen, is because whatever's causing all this trouble is within the manor. And this goes back to my research. Based on accounts, conversations, knowledge gathered from within the Loxus family members, I have questioned. They believe that there is a dark and beating heart, metaphorically or literally, I don't know, still alive at the center of the Manicchus Manor. And this heart, this locus point of this power, is believed by the Loxus family, and I have good reason to believe them. The very same entity or same locus of power which seemed to implicitly draw from that ritual they're performing those years ago. And now it emanates from the same site of this manor and the Manicchus family's violent ends, and I think they're connected. Those warriors and wizards from the Gamma-Nivis, Loxus, and other Beckinsale families that entered and put an end to the family that century ago, all that history's baked into this, and I think it's all connected in the sense that there's a reason it's happening now, and there's only one way to find out, and that's by going into the manor. Whatever the reason is, the manor still holds, exists today, and for this long, perhaps dormant, harboring remnants of God knows what was actually going on inside. As I said, the historical facts on the ritual and what it actually entailed are sparse. And whatever kind of madness is leaking onto the streets now of Beckinsale, all the specifics remain unknown. But we think, based on what the Loxus family tells us, that this heart at the center of the manor is not unlike the phylactery of a lich, you might say, and it can be destroyed. And that's what we're here to do. And that's what we were hoping you could help us with. And y'all could roll a Arcana to understand how a phylactery would work and what a lich is.
Oh shit.
Darian, that's
I was
lore.
about to say Darren doesn't fucking know anything, but I guess he knows everything.
So Darian and Sirocco, y'all both know that liches are very powerful wizards that have passed beyond the grave and become undead, perhaps more powerful wizards than they were in life, but you also lose your mind and like go mad and usually evil in that state. And the only way really to kill a lich is to destroy its phylactery, which is like their horcrux, where they store a part of their soul. And unless you destroy the phylactery, the lich is basically immortal because it can't die. So you would know that. Darian, you'd have intimate knowledge of liches, and you can come up with your own reason why that would be. But Grinmus would speak up, like, this is why they've called us here, the Lumen. This is perhaps important knowledge, we were hired, Lumen brought us here, but the Lumen Lucertia were hired to do this by the Gamma-Nivis and Loxus fans. We've done in liches before. They're the worst of the worst. And I think this should be no different, despite some of this tales and this manor's unique characteristics. I think we have all the facts of the case before us. Now it just falls on me and Mirmo and your group, seem pretty competent, to execute. Now that y'all are here, I think we have more than enough personnel and firepower to handle the manor and employ the exorcism. That's what we're here to do. I think altogether we should be more than enough to handle this. What do you think? And he would look to each one of you.
Alright, so we go into a house, we stab a heart a couple times. How hard can it be?
Exactly. I like the way you think, Malos.
Thanks.
Do you happen to have any magical stabs lying around?
Magical stabs?
Just anything magical that I can hit someone with that happens to be in my proficiency.
Do you wanna hit some people with my pipes?
I mean, yeah, if they do magic damage.
Let me see something real quick. See what spells these folks know. Mirmo would speak up. She'd be like, "Well, I have a spell that I can make any weapon magical. So if you're dead set on that, I can employ such an arcane spell, but I will have to maintain concentration on it. And I have a lot of other one of those types of spells that are also really good. So I don't know."
We gotta make it worth their time.
She's like, we have more than enough firepower, as my friend Grinmus said. You see, actually, Grinmus is very important to this because you've probably been admiring his armor. Which I think, have I unlocked their character sheets?
I was admiring the fuck out of his armor, for sure.
So his armor, y'all don't have to roll a perception because you're just kind of looking over here. So Grinmus is wearing this armor that looks like, it looks like heavy armor. It's like made of, it looks magical. It's made of like very fine metal. Sirocco, you definitely key in on this. And it looks like the armor, the seams of it are pulsing with like this white light energy. And it looks like parts of the armor are like shifting and moving kind of like constantly, and it just looks normal. He's just like sitting there, and it's been doing this the whole time y'all been having this conversation. And Mirma would explain, she's like, actually, Grinmus, the colonels, I think that's what they're called, right? And Grinmus would say, no, it's Sergeant. Sergeant's within the Lumen. It's my title. We don't use it anymore. It's an old name, but essentially someone of my experience level is granted a special type of armor, and this armor is invaluable in work such as exorcisms. And Mirma would say, yeah, it's fascinating. It harnesses the radiant energy within the body of the host. It has to be a cleric or a paladin of solace, which is what we are. And it is used through the host's body. It channels radiant energy, this solace energy, to perform the exorcism. So Grinmus is a walking, talking exorcism machine, you might say. And Grimace is
That's
just
wild.
like pats his armor. He's like, "Yeah, it's pretty badass."
Darian's
I couldn't put it
interested.
better
Darian's
myself.
like, where can I get some of that?
And then he would look at you. He's kind of like eyed you, Darian, because like he sees kindred spirit, perhaps. Passive insight would tell you that. And he would look at you. He's like, "What type of oath you got, son?"
An oath of vengeance.
Ah, vengeance. The dish best served cold. Fuck yeah.
What about you, Grandmas?
And hold on, I don't remember what it was. It's like devotion myself, very devoted,
I respect
devoted to kicking ass.
that. Can I high five him when he says that?
Yeah,
Okay.
Mouse would have also gotten high five him, but probably was a little late.
Yeah.
yeah.
Alice
You
is
see,
like reaching across the
Darian
table.
Darian
Yeah.
does it with enthusiasm. Grinmus does it, and then he like pauses for a second and does yours as well, Malice.
All right. Well, when are we doing this deed?
So he would, Mirma would say, "Well, it's late. We were planning on doing it tomorrow. We're winding down. We just had our meal, and we guess we didn't know when y'all would arrive, but y'all arrived now. So got the briefing out of the way, and probably do it tomorrow morning. Y'all feel free to stay here. This is where we've been staying here at the Black Wand. Malia's been very hospitable, and yeah, it's like at this point, it's like y'all had arrived. It's been like the last like hour or so. It's been like an hour and a half since y'all basically your caravan stopped, and y'all had the battle, and that was like dusk turning to evening. So this is like maybe like 10 or 11 p.m. So yeah, they would just like
time to go to the Hell House.
yeah. So essentially,
Prime time.
I'm not waiting until the morning. I just pack a
Gotta
fucking
get the
werewolf.
spooks.
I'm not gonna wait till morning.
Yeah, so I guess I don't remember if they addressed it directly, but like before we kind of like head off from them, independent of what we're doing, I mean, I want to address the werewolf question and see if they like have any ideas of if something bad would potentially happen, or if we need to try to find help for Malos and Sirocco since they had gotten bitten.
yeah. Mirma would just say it's all rather uncharted territory. We can help. We could definitely go speak. I think the Loxus family would probably be best equipped to remove a curse if that's what it is. But I think until we know more, I mean, there's no guarantee you were actually infected, even if they did bite you. It's not. We don't know what we don't know.
That's fair.
As far as the sense of urgency, it's up to y'all. I mean,
I feel fine. I'm
it's
not
a new
worried about it.
species, and
Okay.
we don't really know.
So I guess like with Darian's background in like purifying evils and that kind of stuff, I guess he wouldn't know like Would he know that that's more of a curse than like an ailment?
You can roll an Arcana check. Yeah, you're not sure one way or the other. I mean,
Okay.
organisms like creatures biting something and passing on a disease is like a thing, but then there's also like magical creatures that touch you and cause a curse to happen to you. And like at this point, you don't have enough information to know where one of these werewolf type creatures would fall. And then kind of like as like these conversations are happening, and like this is like 10, 11 o'clock, and y'all are like continuing to speak with them. I mean, you're not ready to go to bed or anything yet, I would presume. You would hear Grinmus maybe a little bit toasted at this point because they've been having meads. Y'all are he would be riffing on like the wolf creatures as y'all kind of talk about them. He'd be like, I've got it. Werewolves. That's what they're called. That's what we're calling them. That's what I'm going to tell the Lumen to put it in the codex as. Fuck yeah. I'm credited with that. That's me. Mirmo, you heard it. Whenever we go back to the HQ, werewolves, we're putting it down. We're going to spread the word.
I don't know. I feel like we could get a little more clever than werewolf. Like, you really think that's gonna stick?
Well, I mean, man wolf was the one I thought of first, but you got the hyphen in there. Like, fuck hyphens. I don't want to deal with that. Wolf man is kind of boring. I don't know. You have a better idea?
Yeah, I would need to give some thought to it.
Sleep on it. Sleep on it.
Sure. Would it be of any Grandmas? You would probably know better than I. I don't know if it would be of any help to have any sort of holy water during this excursion into the Hell House per se, but I can procure some if you think that would be helpful in our ventures.
That's definitely a good idea. Yeah, holy water. Yeah, I'll go get Malia, and she would run to like the counter and be like, "Hey, can I get some water?" And she's like asking for it. As this is happening, it's been like an hour or so. While y'all are speaking to them in the Black Wand, you begin to hear something outside. This old David Stern water. Second meme bracket reference. You hear a loud.
Fuck the meme bracket.
Your reaction to the meme bracket has to be Alonzo. It's Alonzo meta meme.
No, I'm not. I don't accept it, and I hate that meme.
Y'all, you hate it now, but you and Alejandro were two.
I'm not fucking talking about this with you right now.
Y'all were too dead set on crying Jordan. Y'all hear you hear a loud boom outside, and then shortly thereafter, and y'all are pretty far away from the town proper. You hear screaming and yelling, and Grinmus is a little bit slow to get up. He's a little bit toasted, and Mirmo's still at the tavern getting the water, but she definitely cocks her head, hears it. What do y'all do? You just hear this outside, like kind of in the distance, but it's like emanating throughout like the tavern that you're in right now.
That a normal occurrence around here?
She's like, no, definitely not. Grinmus, get up. What is this? And then she would start to head towards the door.
I order another drink. It's not my town. I haven't even fucking had a short rest yet. I'm getting fucked up by a.
This would be a short rest.
I'm tired.
This would be a short rest, by the way.
Right. Well,
it's been over an hour, but
yeah, Darian would.
Well, I haven't had a long rest yet.
Darren would get up and kind of draw him and walk towards the door.
Yeah, Malice would slug his drink and then walk out with Darian.
Okay. So, Siraka, you're going to order another one from Malia. What do you order? I'm going to resolve this before resolving anything.
I'm going to ask to be surprised, as long as it's strong.
Okay. So she starts cooking you up a surprise. Quilly, what are you doing? So y'all all head out. Mirmo's kind of leading the way. And as soon as you walk out, you notice that, again, this is like around a forest. I mean, obviously, this is like it's a larger city. It's like a larger town, not like nearly as big as Wake.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes.
Okay.
But you noticed that like the night sky was full. Like you could see all the stars. And whenever you walk out, the first thing you notice before anything else is the sky has become darkened and you can no longer see the stars. And this darkness seems to be pulsing in the sense that it's almost like white, the dark sky, no longer stars. It's just all dark. And then in between this darkness, there's like seams of light that are kind of pulsing. And they're growing almost like thunderbolts, but different in the sense that you know they aren't. And this pulsing night sky seems to cover the full expanse of the night sky and the surrounding area of Beckinsale. And looking over near the distance in the center of town, you see something. Directly above the central square of Beckinsale, there's an orb of light, alternating light and dark. So you see something like,
Whoa.
in this area of town, in the sky above
Like,
the center of town.
how big is it?
It's covering a lot of the area of the sky above town. Like, it's like, I mean, it's in the sky, so you can't really tell relative, like, what its dimensions would be, but it's large and, like, impossible not to notice. As soon as you take a few steps out of the tavern's, like, underpass, you can just see it dominating the sky.
Okay.
And from this is where this darkness is seemingly emanating. And this orb is spiraling, and it seems to be, this light and dark is alternating, and there seems to be a strand of light that's going down into the center of town.
I shout out to Mirmo. I say, please don't tell me that's where the house is.
That's exactly where the manor is. Oh, fuck, Grinmus. Grinmus, go get a coffee!
Sober up.
Grimace is like, he's like fumbling with his pants, and he runs in.
Oh, okay.
Mirmo says, what the fuck is that? This is it. We have to get going now. Sirocco, you get a very bitter drink that Malia smiles as you try it, and I don't know if you like it or not, but she hopes you do.
I'm gonna roll for it.
Okay.
What should I roll?
Roll whatever you want.
Well, I mean, you have to tell me.
I'm saying you can roll whatever you want.
Medicine.
Just roll a d20.
Constitution, D20 in general. I mean, you're rolling to see if you like it.
Right.
So it's like not up to me.
I can't have bias though. I could choose acrobatics and I get +7.
Just roll a d20.
Oh, a 9. It's okay. I tell her it's not the best drink I've ever had, but it's okay. Thanks.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah, I need to keep working and improving. Yeah.
I pop my head back in the tavern and I'm like, hey,
Let's go.
Sirocco, there seems to be a bit of a problem. You might want to come after this.
Okay, I take my drink with me.
Okay.
So I probably need to. I can probably till 9:30, but I have to get off at that point. I have to go to bed. Flight's early, so I don't know.
You can sleep on the plane.
Yeah, but I also have to pack. I haven't packed yet.
Looks like you fucked up, John.
John, you can sleep on the plane.
You can pack on the plane, John.
Wait, so are you flying? Are you driving? Or you're flying, right?
I'm flying. Yeah.
So what's the problem?
Well, I gotta pack, and then I gotta go to bed.
I'm doing the math.
We can start the Hill House.
Yeah, we can start. We gotta rush it.
Just give us a little spooky.
Where are my fucking hit dice? I don't even know how long I hit dice. 1d10. Okay. All right, I'm gonna roll some hit dice.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I get my
Short rested, right?
What am I at?
1d10
What am
plus const, right?
Yeah.
What's
So
the
y'all get the benefit of a short rest.
Oh, plus Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Is what hit die plus
The
con.
whole. I think that's 0 for
I'm
me.
D8.
My character's min max.
Would a D8 make sense for me? Yes, I think.
Yes.
Okay. 1D8 plus. Was there not just like a short rest button on this character sheet?
Yeah, there is.
On D&D Beyond, there
On
is.
D&D
But
Beyond, yeah.
Yeah, no, I know there's one on
Alright,
there.
I'm back at full now.
Bucket.
But I spent 3 of mine.
I guess I get my spell slot back.
Oh yeah, Warlock motherfucker. Get all your spell slots back.
I think I only have 2.
How many key points do I get back? I can't remember. Take two die rolls.
Okay. So y'all are heading towards. You'd be following Mirmo. Would be leading the way. Grinmus would be leading the way behind Mirmo, trying to chug a coffee, spilling on his face as he's running throughout the town. So y'all got your short rest in. Everything's good to go.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how many I
Make sure you
get
update
back.
your
How many key
tokens with
points
all
I
the
get back
shit.
on the.
Wait, can I use 2 weapon fighting? Or is that?
That's on like every character sheet. 'Cause everybody could theoretically wield 2 weapons. It's like
Yeah, if you're not if you don't have like the martial fighting style 2 weapon fighting though, it's
not
your
that
second weapon attack is like not very good. You can't add
Yeah.
your proficiency bonus to hit and weapon attacks. Malice is a 2 weapon fighter.
Oh, I see.
So as you run throughout the town, you can see people kind of panicking, running around. A lot of people are going into their homes or into the inns nearby and kind of shutting the doors. And as you get more of like a look at the town, you do notice that there's this massive structure, castle looking in the back on a raised hill in the back of the town, kind of as you see in the picture. And there's a couple of other distant like areas where there's buildings and at least one large structure in the distance, in addition to like the town proper where there's more houses and places of business that y'all are running through, because y'all are running towards the manor, which is in the center of town. And then as you approach the manor, this is what you would see. The manor has, as you noticed earlier in the night already, there was a full moon, but the manor also has this energy crackling around it. As you get closer, you can see the aspect of this orb. The light coming down from it is heading and is directly over the manor. So tell me what y'all see when you're on this map, because there's a lot here. And I want to make sure it's all hidden.
Right now I see nothing but like a little shattered gate with us in it.
Okay, thank God.
Whoa, this is big.
Thank God.
Oh, like you didn't want it to accidentally like reveal everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, that's the phylactery. Okay.
There it is, guys. It's in room 2B. So can y'all control your characters and everything?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So this has this like ruined entrance where the gates are just
Can we
kind of
change-
blasted open.
Quick
and,
question: can we change spells during a short rest?
for a paladin?
That would have to be.
Not
That would
sure.
have to be. Yeah, you'd have to.
Usually
Okay,
it's
You'd have to
long
look
rest.
at your. You'd have to look at the paladin, but yeah,
Right.
it's usually either like when you level up or during a long rest. Like
That's
for
on a
bard,
long
like
rest.
I can't change mine unless it's
Okay,
when I
then I
level up.
probably can't either.
So as you walk up, you see kind of like this manor, as you saw in the picture, that is broken down, ancient, still standing, and structurally it's still sound, but you can tell it's old. No one ventures here. You had to pass through like this overgrown courtyard to get to the gate. The gate is busted wide open, and you see still kind of on above the gate there's this kind of metal grating with some words in it, and in different languages. I guess, what languages do y'all speak? Darian would speak Elven. Sirocco and Malos, y'all are humans. What other languages do y'all speak?
I speak
Draconic.
Celestial.
I
Celestial?
speak Celestial and
Yeah.
Infernal as well.
Infernal? Okay.
Draconic.
Primordial.
Primordial. So you would see the word welcome, Quilibrio, or yes, no, Darian, you know Infernal. You'd see the word welcome in Infernal,
Oh
and then
shit!
it says to Manicchus home, and then you would see the word Malus. Darian, you'd see the word refuge in Elven, and then Malus, you would see the word misfortune in Celestial, and Sirocco. I guess everybody would see like the kind of the rest filling it in basically common, or a variation of common that you would be able to understand, and it says welcome to Manicchus home. Home would be in Primordial Quilibrio. It says welcome to Manicchus home, a refuge for misfortune, but y'all only see the words that you see individually, but you can kind of put together it's a welcome message. The word Manicchus is there, and this is kind of on the display above the gate, which are broken. And as you approach the doors, you see kind of this grand doorway. It's closed, and there's just a rather plain face split down the middle on the two doors that serves as kind of like the door knocker. Grinmus and Mirmo would both be leading the pack. And over here, as you walk up, you couldn't see them until you got to basically where Mirmo and Grinmus are. You see two other faces. On the left, you see the face of what looks like a fiend. It has demonic features, sharp teeth, two horns above the eyes. And on the right, you see the features, near perfect golden features of a celestial, an archon, essentially, a being of the celestial realm. And you see two pools over here. One is white, one is dark, of water. But they're kind of like lighted. And there's no sound. You just walk up to these doorways. But then as soon as you pass by, essentially where Mirmo and Grinmus pass by and get closer to the door, approaching it, you hear, apparently from the like pools of water, but you can't really tell where it's emanating from, you hear the voice alternating back and forth, one from each side of this little alcove before the door, saying, one says Lux, the other one says Nox. Lux, knock, just back and forth, and it just kind of continues. It's like a whisper. It's not very loud. It's not very forceful or filled with any intensity or anything. And Grinmus would turn back around at this point, kind of at the door, inspecting it. Mirmo's down to one knee, kind of checking things. And Grinmus would turn around, like he has his shield out and his mace. Mirmo wields a mace herself. Grinmus would turn around to y'all, like, all right, you understand something. No one's entered this manor in over a century, as far as we know. It is empowered very clearly. He like kind of points vertically, and it appears to be a locus point for dark magics, to put it plainly. And once we enter, whatever we find, whatever happens, I think we have more than enough to handle it. Know that. I'm confident in that. But once we pass through these doors, we likely won't be able to leave until the deed is done. I just urge us to keep your head, and from beginning to end, help me and Mirmo see this through. We want to make it out in one piece, with everything still intact, physically, mentally, spiritually. And then you, but right behind him, he's turned around, you'd see the doors burst open. And the lights inside are on. Mirmo is kind of taken aback. Grinmus kind of like lurches forward, kind of in surprise. You could tell via your passive perception you were paying attention to them anyways. He just got fucking jumped. That made him jump.
Your jump scare didn't get me, Dylan.
What's that?
I didn't jump. Your jump scare didn't get me. I didn't jump. Mouse didn't jump.
Oh, I'm saying Grinmus did.
I know. I'm just letting you know your jump scare didn't work.
Want to be clear.
I do want to know that I've been listening to a lot of spooky shit the last little while, and watched some like spookiest video games of all time and stuff. And doing D&D Haunted House is hard as shit because of the way this game works. But
all right, never mind.
I'm gonna do my best. It's very hard to do things individually because everybody has to hear everything. But I'm gonna do my best. So inside, you see it's lighted, and you can see immediately all the way down into this hallway. Oops, that's not the right tool. There is a stairwell. It's immediately well lit. Looks like not broken down. Not the inside looks nothing like the outside. Grinmus would look down at Mirmo, be like, "What the fuck?" Mirmo would be like, "I didn't do it. I didn't do anything. They opened on their own. Everybody, get your weapons out. I have no idea what just happened. I don't know. We should proceed with caution." And the knocks, callbacks are still happening at the two pools next to you. And
Go to one of them and like make a face at it.
so y'all step
The Lux
forward.
guy.
Yeah, you're gonna make a face at
the
it.
Lux guy. Yeah, and then like kind of like a jeering, kind of like stick my finger out a little bit and then move forward.
Okay. Yeah, the face is not moving, not doing anything. They're both really well carved. Like the craftsmanship is, if you inspected it and took a look at it, it would be pretty impressive.
Can I since I have knowledge of rare pieces of art, can I make a check to see if I know anything about this type of carving? Or like where the origin is?
Yeah, you could do Arcana.
Oh
shit.
I'm not looking. Hold on. Oh shit. Okay. So you're pretty certain these aren't magical in nature. They're just really, really well made by like a very experienced sculptor, essentially. But they're definitely not, from what you can tell. I mean, with short of casting a detect magic spell, they don't look like they're like have any magical properties about them. They're just artistic.
Nice. I like it.
Okay, so does everybody walk in? Move your tokens accordingly. This is hard to like reveal without like going over walls and stuff. It's annoying.
The figures, I don't know if you said one was like infernal and one was celestial.
Yep.
Are they? Do I recognize them from like? Is there anything specific since I'm familiar with both of those languages?
You can tell that the fiend looks like a demon in nature rather than a devil. You can tell from its features, and celestial is definitely like an archon type, of which there's many kinds. You wouldn't be able to tell from this what kind of archon it is, but it's definitely an archon.
Okay.
And just for like y'all's visuals, these all these stairwells just lead up to like this paneling. So there's a stairwell leading up the center, And then these two stairwells are just like little sub stairwells. That's not a stairwell to a second story. I don't know how a good way to get rid of that like up, so y'all can just see that shit, but I don't really care. So this is a 3-paneled like wall and a stairwell leading up, and you can see 3 different pictures. And y'all can roll me perception checks on the pictures as you're looking at them. Okay, Sirocco.
Oh, Soraka's wise.
Sirocco, Quilibrio, and Malos. Y'all can see 3 different paintings, very well drawn, gigantic on the wall. On the far left, you can see a group of what look like, and y'all have some experience with these creatures, vampires. They're centered on a central figure that's larger than the rest. It's like kind of like giant-sized, and there's just a bunch of naked, bloody figures around this giant, and it looks like a giant's bloody orgy. And
Oh god.
just chaos. And then on the far right, you see another great figure in the center that there's concentric circles of figures prostrate as if they're worshiping, and in the center is this figure that's all black. It's just a silhouette. You can't really make out features, but it has great black wings. And it's just this darkened, just another very stark picture of what looks like a great evil figure being worshipped by concentric circles around it. And then in the center, you see what looks like a family photo of a group of about 10 to 12 people laughing and smiling in a circle, or in a kind of like family photo. They're all trying to get in, and they're like giving each other bunny ears, and there's jovial laughter. And in the center of it all, you see a kind of prominent figure that's like, and this is a painting, prominent figure that's kind of has his arms around everybody. And this figure, while you're staring at this painting, appears to you what looks like in the flesh on the stairwell. And you see a figure wearing kind of extravagant clothing. He has a hat on. He's smiling. He has a lute in his hand. He has like kind of a half cape pants where each pant leg is 2 different colors. Long boots. And he appears at the top of the stairwell before this painting in the center. And he starts to sing while he's playing his lute. And he starts to sing.
Have we seen this one before? Do we recognize him?
No.
Okay.
Malice pulls out his lute and plays along.
Okay. And he starts to sing, and he says, "Welcome to Manicchus Manor, where everyone is free, whatever you want to be. Welcome to the big old manor, where you'll finally be able to see. Welcome to my family's personal hell. I've been here for a fucking 100 years. Gammon and Loxus were here in the fell, the great betrayal's pioneers. But alas, the awakening is now." And he continues to play, but he's kind of speaking now. "Those 2 forces which brought us here have commenced their centennial coalescing. Those Gammon goons and those Loxus Lemuxes have no idea what's in store for the wretched clans. And that brings us great joy. Let me tell you something." And he starts to step down the stairwell as he plays. "Welcome to my home. I don't know who you are. My name is Malice. I don't know why you're
Hi,
here."
I'm Malos.
"Oh, really? I don't know why you're here. But I'm going to entertain you." And he continues to play. "Practically to death. In spite of what I sound like, I'm angrier and older and deader than you can possibly imagine." And he's at the base of the stairwell at this point, kind of before you can get a better look at him. "I'm not here to create new suffering, or more lifeless, inert, bloody, and broken bodies. There's been quite enough of that in this handsome household already. You find yourself here to experience a different kind of suffering. And everybody roll me a wisdom saving throw as he plays another chord.
Yeah.
And y'all could roll me a perception as well.
This is based on sight.
This wisdom isn't, but there's another thing you're going to see.
What?
That's amazing. That's a 1 in
Oh,
400. That's 1 in 400.
Oh yeah, 20 squared. Yeah, whatever 20 squared.
Is this attempting to charm or put me to sleep?
No, neither of those.
I've seen this one before. I've heard this one before, I mean.
So Darian, you see that when he's saying this and playing, and he says, you'll find yourself here to experience a different kind of suffering, as he says this, he's looking not your direction. He's looking to the right of you, maybe to the far right. And after he says this, you kind of experience this moment where you can feel of a magical nature something entering your person, and it's not very pleasant. Something wasn't trying to invade your person. And in the same moment, you see Malice, everybody sees this. You see Grinmus kind of fall to one knee, and he's growling. And then you see him raise his mace to Malice, this guy playing the lute, smiling this whole time. And Grinmus yells to everyone, no one in particular. Miramos, that's Malice. We can end this now! And he runs in. He rushes directly towards Malice, and Malice you don't see him take a step, but his form shifts to his left, y'all's right, and Grinmus rushes to the stairwell, and in that same moment, he shifts out of the way a little bit, and you see where he stood, there's now a darkened portal, and you can roll me an Arcana check, but Grinmus barrels right into it, and Malice turns and strums one more time, and then the portal disappears. Malice, what Grinmus just ran into was a demi-plane. Quilly-Peel,
Okay.
you know the shit out of that too. So you see a demi-plane open, Grinmus charges, and it's as if he wanted to charge into the demi-plane. Like, obviously he was charging at Malice, but Malice shifted out of the way well before and kind of in time for Grinmus to react, and he just continued barreling with his heavy armor clattering the whole way on this pristine wooden floor. You see him kind of Malice Matador Grinmus into this, and he is just not there anymore. He goes into this
Well,
demi-plane.
that was really nice.
Miramo's like, Grinmus, no, what the? And then Malice continues speaking. He whips his cape around. He's like, I've seen that. I can assure you, there's no heart here. And he's kind of like thinking right now as right after this happens. There is no heart. Is that why you're here? Is that what you thought? That fellow Grinmus is his name. And he continues like looking up, thinking. No. Every single Manicchus family member is the heart. We are all equally significant in my eyes. And they are not my children. They're not my siblings. They're not my blood. None of them ever were. They were and are my dearest companions. And I apologize, sir, and he's thinking again, Grinmus, but your presence here brings much too much risk, and you've been expelled. You're not going to be entertained like the others. Shall we continue?
Where did he get banished to? What did you say it was called? Or what did I know about it with my Arcana check?
You know that what the portal that opened was a demi-plane, which is a magical plane that it's like a pretty high-level spell that different spellcasters can summon that opens up kind of like a pocket in like the universe that you can put things in and close it off, and there's no real way to get out of it outside of the same spellcaster opening it up again.
Whoa.
And it's like kind of like a room. It's not very big. It takes a lot of magic to open up a small space that's kind of like your own personal realm.
Yeah.
But
he's okay. We have.
Yeah, so a demi-plane wouldn't kill you. He's just in it now.
Gotcha.
And it's like, but I don't know your names, and I don't need to know your names, but I think you should understand the importance of names, and I've already told you mine. It's Malice Manicchus. And I don't know who, how, why you are, or really what you are, but that will be rectified. We're about to get to know each other quite well. I just cannot wait for you to meet the rest of my lovely family. They are just dying to meet you. But first, there's something you need to understand about me and my family in this house. call it a memento, call it our cornerstone. And you hear over here to the right a door slam. And you hear over here to the left, it's almost like the wood paneling from the floor has just exploded somewhere over here. And you see some splinters land kind of in your purview.
Oh, shit.
It's like, call it a memento, call it our cornerstone. I am speaking, of course, of mayhem, madness, and extreme bouts of unbidden violence. Say hello to the intruders of to the remnants of some of those intruders, those 100 years ago. And he plays another note from his lute, and he steps back and just disappears seemingly into the stairwell behind him. And in the hallway to your right, you can hear loud and very distinct steps coming. And then from the hallway to your left, you can just start to see around. You hear what sounds like a massive figure slithering along the floor. What do y'all do? You don't see anything yet.
I think we got some zombies, boys.
Malice turns around and goes out. Tries to walk out the front door.
Yeah. Seemingly unknowingly to you, you didn't hear it, but the doors are slammed shut behind you.
And they're locked.
And the door won't budge if you try to open it or start to bash it. While you're doing that, what is everybody else doing? This is time sensitive because the steps and the slithers are getting closer.
Oh, fuck, do I have any spells that I can use? I have no idea. Should we prepare to fight?
Mirmo
I
would
think
run
they're gonna be
forward to
friends.
where she saw Grinmis disappear, and she's like searching the bottom of the stairwell, kind of with her eyes and her leg. She's like on one knee looking around.
I pop my head out and look to the left.
Okay. So you can roll me a nature check, but you see a large snake-like creature with a massive cobra-flared thing along its neck, and it is slithering quickly towards you. This looks like a naga, but it is much larger than what you normally see, and it has large red eyes and even two much larger than you normally see in a naga, even if it was a smaller size relative to the rest of its body. Large red fangs coming out of its face, and its tongue is out and is slithering along the ground. And you see back here, it seemingly emerged from within the floorboards, an exploded area back here, and it has emerged and is headed that way. And then,
Boys, we got a huge snake coming our way.
Oh, goody. We always go to the most nice places. Couldn't we go to a beach sometime?
I cast mirror image.
Okay, no, I mean so like basically you're now have encountered this creature, and you're now essentially, I would say everybody would roll initiative, but Mirmo is going to turn as she's inspecting this. She notices another figure coming up the right side, and I use the GM overlay a lot. It's fun stuff.
Wait, so that like allows you to see stuff that we can't.
So that like I can hide stuff and reveal stuff. It's like
Yeah, this is sweet actually. I like this.
So on the other side of the room, you see a skeletal figure that's about 8 feet tall, stomping forward. It has a staff in its hands, and it is approaching your direction as well. And Mirmo would call out. She would say, "Guys, weapons up!" And everybody can roll initiative.
I know where you got the image from Malice, Dylan.
Yeah, and you're gonna know a lot more.
That Twitter artist.
Yeah, man, everything spawns ideas, man. That's why I like. Part of the reason why I follow all that shit on Twitter. Where is the roll for this? Oh, -1. That's terrible. Okay. Mirmo is flat-footed. Okay. Everybody in the order. So Sirocco, you going first. So you see a 8-foot-tall skeletal being over here on the right, and you see a probably just as tall, if not taller, snake-like figure over here on the left.
Are we actually playing this out right now? Or I thought we were rolling initiative and then John had to go. I don't know.
Didn't. It's up to y'all.
I can. I didn't.
Yeah, I switched over to my phone, so I'm running around packing. So I can play probably another 20 or so minutes, probably till 10. So,
Okay,
yeah,
we can go through
keep
like a
going.
round or so. A couple
All
rounds.
Yeah.
Okay, something I wanted to implement before we officially do combat. This is out of game, but also affecting the game. Another idea that I've gotten from Twitter. This is something I might have told y'all about before. I don't think we've definitely never used it, but I want to try it with this if y'all want to. It's called Dark Inspiration, where y'all can, so like we can say y'all are like inspired right now, or like you're generally always kind of inspired. You're going around doing this. And the way Dark Inspiration works is you could say, hey, I want to use my inspiration. I want to use Dark Inspiration right here. I'm going to draw from that pool. And like maybe if y'all obviously couldn't, I mean, I guess theoretically the way it works, y'all could use it every turn if you wanted, but there's a catch. So it's called Dark Inspiration because you can say, hey, I want to draw from the pool of Dark Inspiration. I'm going to re-roll this attack. I'm going to re-roll this spell attack. I'm going to re-roll an ability check, whatever it is, a D20. Anything you could use advantage on or an inspiration point on. But every time you do that, you also give me an inspiration point to use as DM on your adversaries. Or anything that I'm going to be rolling, I could then use the Dark Inspiration pool to give the monster or the situation an advantaged roll. So, y'all, this is something I was like, yeah, it's a cool idea. Y'all can use it. So, like, you know that like you're testing fate in the sense that like I'm gonna like go out of my way to do better at this, but it might come back around. And it's especially fitting in this Manicchus Manor.
Yeah, we could try
I
it.
can do that.
I don't know. What do you guys think? That sounds cool. Oh, I don't think I made it into the thing. Initiative.
Oh, let me get you in there. What'd you roll?
10.
10. Okay.
Wait, so I go into the players tab, click myself, and then click initiative? Is that how it works?
No, you just gotta click on your
No,
icon.
you just click
and
your
then click
token.
initiative.
You just have to have your token
Well-
clicked.
What's my token though?
You're this guy.
Oh, click on my token.
Yeah,
I
you're like
see.
in-game guy.
And then click on initiative. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, Rocco, what are you doing?
Rocco's gonna reach into his bag of tricks.
Wait, so this is like a special item you have?
This an axe beak.
Axebeak. This is the OG guy. This is the guy from the Misadventure that like was running around. Okay, Axebeak. See, the bird emerges. Can you link the character sheet stats for that? I'm gonna
Yeah.
search for a bird token. Where are you throwing it?
Well, let me see its stats first. 19 hit points. Oh, he's got his beak for a D8 plus 2 slashing.
I don't remember what I used last time for this. Is there an ostrich picture? Because I feel like that's what it looks like. Damn it, there is an ostrich in the like premium token.
I'm gonna throw him to the snake side. Throw him right in the snake's mouth.
Whoa.
Okay, so you can
And-
roll initiative for it. You do notice though, so this is retroactive, kind of. Whenever you summon the baked bear, never thought I'd be saying that. Whenever you summon the baked bear, you notice something. So you've only used this how many times? You've summoned an axebeak and you've summoned a snake. And you remember the snake. There was at one point where you moved out of range of where it was, or maybe it was still within range, or there was one time where it didn't follow your commands exactly. The axebeak you summoned before kind of I think you threw it out and you didn't know what got summoned, and then you saw it later and you're like it was kind of like aloof and you didn't really use it. The baked bear, whenever you summoned it, you could see that it summoned the bear and it wasn't a fully formed bear. Like it looked like it was at least malnourished, if not like something was off. And now whenever you summon this axebeak, one of its like eyes is hanging out and its feathers and its like skin are ravaged and its feathers are like falling off, and in one part of it it's just like naked and barren. And it's still functional and it's standing there, it throws out and it's like it's alive and ready to like go. But you notice that about it, and just kind of in line with what you saw before. And it rolled a 15, so it's actually going to be going... Okay, so you do that for your action, and then you still have movement or any other bonus action.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay put for now.
Okay, so next is the Naga, which... What can this guy do? So this is a massive, scaled, snake-like creature that's taller than a man. Its full form is probably like 10, 11 feet if you counted the end of its tail all the way.
Yeah.
It is going to strike this axebeak that's right in front of it. It's going to position itself right here, and it kind of slithers underneath its legs, intertwines itself, goes all the way around, and then strikes at the Naga's head. I mean, at the axebeak's head. What is its AC? Where are its stats?
11.
It has 19 hit points.
Yep. Got 50 speed.
Roll me a, yeah, it's got the speed. Roll me a Constitution saving throw for the axebeak.
Okey doke. 11.
Okay. Oh, man. So,
He did.
that does not pass. And then, so you see this thing wrap around it, it just the Naga comes down, bites it on the neck, and Quilly, you're right there. You can see a lot of blood is drawn. It kind of rips its neck back, and then just starts like it looks like it's sucking the blood out of this Axebeak's neck, and the Axebeak doesn't even let out a cry. It's kind of sudden, and the Axebeak is like trying to move and escape. The Naga releases its two fangs and kind of slithers and gets back and gets in this position right here. And the Axebeak kind of turns and looks to it. It's still alive. It didn't break its neck or kill it in that moment when it bit it and sucked some of its blood, it looks like. But then it steps forward for a second because it's actually going to go next. But then you see it kind of, like its one good eye, kind of freezes in place, and then it just kind of collapses and at a heap on the floor.
Alex, use your reaction to get it back in the Pokeball. Quick.
And it's done.
Yeah.
And Darian, it's your turn.
Okay, let me get back to the computer.
Will?
Okay. I will.
What did you roll for Equilibrio? You rolled a 19 to know this was a Naga, right?
Yeah.
So something you would know about Nagas is even if you kill them, it's kind of inexplicable. They cannot die in the sense that you kill them, they're dead, and like their bodies are, any level of violence committed upon them, no matter what happens to them, no matter how they're killed, once it dies, a Naga will always return to life in a week at most. That's something you would know about them based on that roll.
So is the Naga it's like fiendish dead looking? What's this boy over here?
This is, you could roll me a nature to know what that is, but it's like an 8-foot tall skeletal figure that makes big stomping steps as it walks.
Darian's going to Skelly Boy.
At most a week. So it could be shorter than a week. Fuck. Should we try to kill these? Maybe we should just try to kill one and then go down the hallway. Or would the Naga follow us?
Okay, Darian, what are you doing?
Swinging Lament at Skelly Boy.
Okay, roll me that attack. That is narrowly misses. That, or more so, he blocks it with his large staff. So you're swinging the spear kind of up at him. He's significantly taller than you, and he brings out his staff and collides, pole to pole, knocks your spear away.
Okay.
First attack,
I'll
at
do my
least.
second attack.
Okay. Second attack narrowly does hit. Gets some 6 damage in. So you blocks the first attack. Second attack, you get in behind as it already has used its spear to block your first attack, and you're able to cut it across its robed form for 6 slashing.
And then I'm gonna bonus action the Polearm Master. I'll come and hit him with the shaft.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna try to Adam Sandler shaft him in the nuts.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hit. That's confirmed. All right, 5 more damage his way. So these strikes are kind of delivered, but it's a skeletal form. You can't really tell how much damage you did, and it doesn't make a sound.
Okay.
Doesn't cry out. Doesn't appear to be breathing for obvious reasons. Quilly, it's your turn.
My turn, yeah.
Guys, this Naga might be able to come back to life. Should I attack it or go attack the skeleton guy?
Well, you would know a Naga, it would remain dead for at least 12 to 24 hours. It's just these things
I see.
are honestly, I would say even with that roll, you would know that the only way to prevent such a thing from happening, like I said, no matter what level of violence or magic is committed upon it that makes it die, the only way to make it not come back is via the most ridiculous thing that you know, which is a wish type spell, which you've probably never held that type of power in your hand, but it's probably the most important or most powerful thing in the realm. The only way to stop a Naga from endlessly returning, like Ouroboros, an eternal recurrence, is by wishing it to not be so. So that's something, a bit of lore that you would know about the Naga for rolling that high.
Damn. Okay, so it's a wish spell that is pretty complex magic and intense magic.
Yeah, and I can't think of anyone, you probably wouldn't think of anyone that would probably ever use a wish spell to stop a Naga from summoning itself again.
Okay.
But yeah, it's sitting there over the body of this Axebeak, and there's blood dripping from its large fangs, and it's now looking in y'all's direction.
Where should I go attack this skeleton? I don't know. In D&D, in D&D meta, is it better to go for one guy, or I don't know?
You gotta decide on your own, Chief. You can ask that. I mean, I would say the way we kind of do talking in combat is You can say
It's
like
supposed to be
one.
quick, I guess,
You can
yeah.
say one thing per round. So you can like say to everybody like, "Hey, I'm going over here to attack this," or like, "Hey, I need help over here," and that's like a free action. You
Okay.
can use it during any point in the round. It doesn't have to be on your turn. It can be on someone else's turn. But then like you wouldn't be able to say like much more than like that one time. That's kind of how we resolve that.
All right, that's fine. Then I'll just go over here and attack this guy with.
Okay.
Or actually, I'll cast Booming Blade.
Booming blade. Yeah. That's if it moves, it gets hit again.
Yeah.
Okay. So roll me.
Level.
I think you roll a
Okay.
spell attack. It's a melee spell attack.
Okay. So I use like one of my weapons though, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be like.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think you have to have a weapon. I guess you do have to have a weapon. Yeah.
As part of an action, you must make a melee attack with a weapon against one creature. Okay, so I'll just use my dagger, my Orc Spin. Oh shit!
That's a crit. Okay, that's a hit. So it does 7 damage. It does thunder damage. So this booming portal comes out of like your blade as you bring this like, lightning bolt type effect down on it, and it does 7 damage.
And then at 5th level, the melee attack deals an extra 1d8 thunder damage, and the damage the target takes from moving is 2d8.
Okay, so yeah,
That makes sense.
I think that rolled
Wait, how did you get
1d4. So you rolled Orcsbane's attack, but then so now you would roll 1d8 4 times because it's doing 2d8 twice since you crit it. So it does 48
damn.
right now.
Isn't Orcsbane supposed to do 1d4 plus 2?
Yeah, wait, how much
Yeah,
did it do?
because Orcsbane is a dagger, right? So it should be 1d4. So it rolled.
Yeah,
2d4
but
for-
booming blade. Well, it rolled
Oh,
2d4
with
because
it.
it critted, but he just rolled the Orcsbane attack because he did a spell. I mean, I guess
Oh, okay.
you would roll a spell attack more so than a melee attack. So Orcsbane, that roll, I'll give you the crit because you rolled a crit. But this would be a spell attack. So booming blade it wouldn't be your dagger's attack. It would be your spell attack modifier. And the booming blade does 1d8. No matter, it doesn't matter what weapon you're using. That's like the spell. It's a cantrip.
Oh.
So
It doesn't also do the melee damage since he's making a melee attack with a weapon.
No, this is a cantrip, and this is just, it has to be within melee range. It's not like Divine Smite, where it's like an attack with the cantrip on top of it. It's just making a melee attack with a weapon, and then if it misses, the spell fails, but if it hits, it does 1d8 thunder damage.
No, it says on hit, the target suffers the attack's normal effects, and it becomes sheathed in booming energy until the start of your next turn. So isn't the attack's normal effects the normal damage that the attack would do?
Yeah, the booming blade damage is if the target moves.
No, what I'm saying at level 5, it increases to 1d8
Okay. So it would be-
as I hit.
It would be, you do dagger damage, and then the 1d8 only comes into play if they move. So,
No. It's both. So it augments at level 5. It's
Oh
both
yeah,
immediately
Alex is right.
and when they try to move it, now it's 2d8 because
Okay.
I'm level 5.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
At higher levels. Or wait,
So-
is that how that works? I am level 5.
Yeah,
right?
so he gets the 2d4 for the crit on this one because he's level 5. He gets an extra d8 for the melee attack, and if
it moves, it does 2d8.
and if the
Yeah.
Naga moves, it does 2d8. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it does
And
a
then the
total
rest
of 10 damage, which
Okay.
seems to hurt it. You cut it across, and it like kind of snarls. It's snaky snarl at you, but doesn't appear to be lethal or anything.
Wait, and I'll use Thirsting Blade, which is one of my invocations when I can attack twice with my packed weapon whenever I take the attack action on my turn.
Okay. So
I just attack
you'd be
again.
able to attack again.
Okay, so 3 more damage.
Yep. All right. So you strike twice at it, and now there's this aura of booming electrical energy around it. And Malice, it would be your turn if you're done, Quilly.
I'll just
What is this little like 8, the red 8 that's on your character now?
wait. Yeah, what the
I
fuck?
don't know what that is.
I don't know what that means either. Where did that come from?
I don't know.
I think I accidentally clicked it. Okay.
Okay.
I'll just move right here.
So if you move from there to there, you get an attack of opportunity from the
Oh.
Naga because
Fuck.
it's threatening you.
Oh yeah, I'm engaged. Okay, never mind. I'll just chill.
Okay. Malice, it's your turn.
All right, Mouse moving over here, and he's gonna take a swing with advantage at the Skelly with
Okay.
Bolivar first.
That's a hit. So 8 damage.
I'm gonna re-roll that with Savage Attacker.
Okay.
Damn, nice.
10 damage. Okay. So you strike at it, you get positioned behind it, and you see like some flakes of bone and dust rip off of it along with its cloak, and doesn't make a sound, but you're cut away some of the material on its bony form.
Did I get anything from Olivar when I hit?
As far as it would impulse to you that this is undead and it needs to be put down again forever. And you could roll me in nature. I don't know if y'all rolled natures earlier and I forgot to tell you, but you could roll nature for looking at this thing.
Oh shit! Didn't mean to roll advantage, but
Let's say Malice and Calibrio, y'all both know this is something known as a deathlock. That's what it appears as, which is like kind of like an undead. It's like a poor man's lich, basically. It's like an undead spellcaster that retained much less of their power in Unlife.
okay. I'm gonna take another swing with my battle axe.
Okay. That is a hit. Another 11 damage. So that is
Nice.
actually that's a non-magical axe, right?
Yeah, my axe isn't magic.
Yeah, so that Olivar strikes true and does its true damage, and the axe is much less effective. But they both hit. You both strike at them, and some bones fall away. And if you're done, it is the Deathlock's turn. And
Oh yeah, Mirmo got a 1. I guess she could go at the end.
Yeah, I'm done.
okay, so you see it kind of bring its staff to its center, and it puts its staff on the center of the floor, and both Darian and Malice, y'all are engulfed in some kind of darkness.
Ooh.
And you are now, Quilly and Sirocco, y'all both see this dark, like magical darkness appear over here, engulfing Darian, Malice, and the Deathlock, and you can no longer see them. Darian and Malice, y'all are both now blind, and in this darkness you can hear a cacophony of soft whispers and slurping noises as you then feel a whoosh of air, and you hear a very, very, and again, this guy hasn't made any noises as y'all have kind of struck at him. You hear a whoosh of air, and you hear on the ceiling above you like a crashing sound, and you hear a along with the slurping and cacophonous noises.
Oh shit.
And y'all are now in darkness, so you cannot see, you're blinded.
I have dark vision. Does that work or not?
No, this is magical darkness, so you have to use
Oh,
magical
shit.
light or some other type of magical effect to see through it. Mermo would, looking at this, she's facing that way. She's like, Darian, Malice, what happened? Are you okay? And it's her turn. Oh God, they're dead! They're dead! They're all dead!
Mirmo's freaking out.
I'm dead. Am dead.
Ah, fuck.
Lol.
Let me see this.
Come on, Mirmo. Unleash some cool stuff. Damn, I don't have any light spells.
She would, hearing your voice, understanding that you're okay, it's like, it's magical darkness. She's like, Quilly, let the gods protect you. And she puts a hand on you, and you feel some protection against many types of creatures. You now have protection from good and evil upon you. So she like pours a little bit of holy water on her hand and then puts it on your arm, and you feel like this protective aura around you. You just feel a little bit more safe from specific types of creatures. Presumably this aberration-like creature that's bearing down on you will now have a harder time trying to strike your form. You have protection from evil and good.
Oh, sick.
And then she would
Probably be done soon. I'll probably be.
she would move over here, or right here, I guess, seeing that you have the booming blade on it, and she would like beat her mace against her armor. She's like, over here, snake face.
Nice. Good idea.
And then
She taunts it.
Sirocco, it's your turn again.
Okay. I'm gonna move this boy. And
Well, okay,
I'm
so
gonna-
you see that blackened area is like the edge of this darkness. So you actually can't see anything that's in there. It's this magical
Oh, the edge.
moving
Okay.
darkness.
Gotcha.
So you could go inside of it, but you do
Right,
know that
right,
there's
right,
a
right,
darkness
right.
there. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
You could actually you could roll me an intelligence check to see if you remember the specifics of something that y'all's party has already experienced. To see if you this blackened, to see if your character remembers this. It was a while ago.
15.
So you remember that whenever y'all were in the cavern with the Aboleth, the dark elf cast something similar, and I think Darian was the only one who got caught inside of it. So Darian, this would be very familiar to you as well. This is the same thing that the slurping sounds. It's difficult to get out of, and it's very cold, and it can harm you if you stay in it for a long time. I don't think you know the name of the spell. You probably wouldn't. And Sirocco, you probably don't know the name of the spell, but this is the same type of magical darkness aura that you saw that this dark elf cast in the cavern.
okay. I'm just gonna heave my spear into the darkness. Okay. Well, I definitely don't have any way to deal with the darkness. Okay, I'm gonna attack the snake then.
So the booming blade only works if it willingly moves. So if you force it to move, it wouldn't take the booming blade damage.
Me personally, or
Anything, because it says willingly. I'm just wondering how it works. I don't know. Your
yeah, that's a
characters
good point.
wouldn't know
Actually.
that.
I was wondering that too. Maybe if he like taunts it though, it'll like want to go attack him.
Well, if you were to move it willingly into a space where it wasn't near one of us, it would have to move to get to one of us anyway.
Right.
Oh, that's a good point actually. Like if you pushed it away, it would have to move to come attack us.
Okay, I'm gonna spear.
Okay. 10-foot reach.
Yeah.
That is a hit.
Okay. Damage on that.
So, yeah,
5.
you're able
and
to
then I'll
get
use
past
my...
its shifting form, and you pierce it with that strike.
Okay, I'm gonna use my second attack.
That's another hit.
6, 9.
Another 9 damage.
I'm gonna move.
So you get the 1-2 on the snake. You cut it across the belly. That does very, very solid damage, and your spear is
Okay.
doing what it should be doing. It doesn't. This thing doesn't appear to have magical resistances.
Okay.
You're on your unmagical weapon.
Okay. And then I'll move into the. I guess I have to move with it into the space to use my unarmed
Okay.
bonus.
That's another hit. Another 6 damage. So
Sixer.
that took a good chunk. It is now looking away from Quilly and to you. As
Our
you
party
just-
is dealing out the damage now.
Nice.
So what can this guy do? A lot of options.
Ooh, Snake Man. He's entranced
Holy shit.
by Mirmo. Snake Charmer. Does anyone have snake charming proficiency?
You see Sirocco. This creature, this Naga, it starts to like weave its head towards you and away from you in like little mini circles, as if it's trying to beguile you. And it's the ends of its like neck, its frills are kind of like moving hypnotically, and its eyes are widening, and its mouth, its tongue is reaching out, and its mouth is still dripping this blood that it sucked from your fallen axe beak. Roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Me or
Sirocco.
both of us? Okay.
Sirocco only.
Yeah, I'm rolling it.
Okay. So you feel this thing like enter your mind, and it was almost like it was trying to utterly dominate you. And you're able to fight it off with your monk training and your iron willpower.
Nice.
You're able to avoid such a fate. And
Get out of my head.
creature retracts its tongue, its frills calm down, and it's no longer doing anything. Darian, roll me a dexterity saving throw, if you can.
Okay. So what is the guy still in front of me?
You cannot see, but you did hear him laugh, and you heard a whoosh of air, and you heard the ceiling make a thudding sound, and the laugh sounded like it was coming from above you. So,
I mean,
your other
blinded doesn't
senses
mean
are
we
telling you stuff
can't
like that.
Attack, right?
What's that? If you're
Blinded
blinded, you
doesn't
can
mean-
attack, you just get disadvantage.
So do I have an opportunity attack when he tries to move away? I don't know how far he's moving to go to the ceiling, but if he moves, Sentinel gives me an opportunity attack.
Yeah, I mean, it was forced movement via an ability, so I'm going to say you wouldn't get an opportunity attack. It wasn't part of his normal movement. Like, it wasn't part of his 30 foot, just like moving around you.
How
In addition
high
to
is
you
the
being
ceiling?
blinded. Ceiling's like normal height. How tall is a normal ceiling? Like
10 feet.
10 feet. So his head was already pretty close to that, so I say the ceiling's like 12 feet. But
And the darkness goes up as well, so we can't see.
yeah, but you're starting your turn in this area, so actually no, you don't. You automatically take the damage. You only roll a dexterity saving throw if you end your turn there as well. So you're starting your turn here, and you're gonna take 7 cold damage as this chilly, shrieking sounds kind of start to unnerve you and affect you physically, and
Yeah.
you are in difficult terrain. If you tried to move, the warps of space-time would fuck with you, and you would only be able to move half movement.
Okay.
But
Damn.
you'd learn that as you tried to move.
So with my spear's reach, can I make an attack on him?
Yep.
Even if the height? Okay.
Yeah.
Do I not
It's
have
your-
advantage because of flanking, though?
Yeah, I would say neither of y'all would have advantage anymore because you're not. I mean, you're both technically threatening him if you both had like spears, but it's not like the same as flanking.
Okay.
So you get disadvantage on the attack because you're blinded.
Okay. I will try to swing once. No dice probs.
Yep. So the spear sticks into the ceiling, and it looks like it's hitting like wood and not him.
Try again.
That does hit.
Nice.
Nice.
So you score another hit on him, and I'm gonna say actually that's enough to where you hit him, you stab into like some meat, more so bone, and he's still kind of like chuckling and laughing. You can hear, and as soon as you do that, he stops, and then you feel weight on your spear as the body of this creature begins to fall, and it falls and lands kind of where he just was, and your spear kind of like wrenches free, and you're pretty sure he's standing right back where he was in front of y'all.
Is he alive?
Sweet.
He's still alive. You're not sure if he landed on like his feet or how he landed, but he came back down as the spear was dislodging from him, and
Okay.
he's
Can
no
I
longer on the
alarm
ceiling.
master him as well with advantage?
Yep. So it's
Or
a
no,
normal
normal.
attack now.
Yeah.
Okay. Does a little bit more damage.
Is he prone?
So yeah, whenever you pull arm him, you like go out into the space. You're not really sure. It doesn't appear that he's prone. You are able to hit him, and it's like you're hitting an upright figure.
Okay.
You strike his bone again. You hear it crack. Still standing. No longer laughing. All the slurping sounds of the void are around you, though.
So if I tried to leave, I would take opportunity attack, correct?
Presumably.
Yeah, I'll just end my turn there.
Alright.
Do spells count as laments? Would that trigger lament's effect or no? I didn't think about that.
This particular spell, yeah, because like a lightning bolt versus like this type of spell.
Because especially if it's only for one, I mean, the way you made it seem, it's like for one turn, and I don't know. It seems like if I was ever fighting a spellcaster, it'd be difficult to ever get the advantage against them if it's like one turn and it's like a damage over time spell. But
Yeah, but if it was like a damage over time spell, you'd be taking this damage repeatedly. But I mean, I would say for this type of spell, area of effect that just like sits there, like you could cast it and walk out of the circle and it would still just be there for the time. It's different than like a lightning bolt spell. It's
Sure,
coming directly
yeah.
out of his hand.
Yeah.
So I'd say
Yeah,
for this
I would
spell, it's
agree.
not the same.
Okay. I will end my turn there.
All right, Quilly, it's your turn. What the fuck just happened? All right, it's Quilibrio's turn. Also, Darian, you roll dexterity saving throw because you ended your turn there. So now the thing would hit you again.
Oh, I see. Like he.
Okay, so you take another 7 damage, cold damage, from this slurping void sound.
I guess I will cast produce flame on this bad boy.
Okay.
Oh damn.
That flame does not take hold upon the snake's form, the Naga's form.
Fuck. Oh, that was so much damage too.
That is a shitload of damage. It's almost max.
Yeah, I guess
Do you have Hex?
I can use Hexblade's Curse, which is a bonus action, and I get it once per short rest.
That's for the Hexblade special ability. It's the same thing as Hex, but it's like Hexblades. Get it? Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you could use that.
I haven't lost any HP though, so I get plus 7 HP.
You can also
with
use Dark
Snake
Inspiration.
to like do a bonus action.
To Dark Inspiration to give something advantage. It's the same thing as Inspiration, but just the dark part applies to it.
Oh,
Or you
so I
give
would
me
roll.
something. You give me the pool.
So I could roll like the attack again, like the.
Yeah.
Okay. Would I roll damage again too, though?
Yeah, you
Probably.
would roll damage again.
How bloodied is this snake looking?
It looks like in pretty rough shape after what Soraka did to it last turn. He did a 1-2 spear, and then he jumped up and like punched it in the face. So that was a pretty sick combo that looks like it hurt it and caused it to try to beguile him with some domination magic.
All right, I will. I'll just chill then. No divine inspiration. I'm done.
Okay. Malice, be your turn. And you take 6 cold damage as you start your turn in this voiping or sucking and slurping, voiding space of magic.
Okay, I'm gonna take a swing at this fool because I heard Darian.
Yep, so you know it landed right before
fair
you.
It's just normal, no advantage.
Yeah, no advantage, no disadvantage. Straight up.
Okay, all right, let's go, Levar. Yeah, buddy.
That is a hit.
I'm gonna reroll
All
damage.
Even with that
Nice.
non-reroll damage, this is a, how do you want to do this?
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I think I think I just like I kind of heard this thing get staggered as Darian hit it a couple times, and so I had a good beat on it, and I just like take Olivar and stab its face.
Okay, so as you do this, maybe it's like turned to face you because it knows you're threatening and about to hit it, or here's the whoosh of the blade, and you stab it through the face, and as you do, its face starts to like split open. I mean, as soon as the blade goes through its face, the darkness disappears, because that was a spell it was controlling, and it is no longer there. And everything's visible again. And you stab it, and this is the first time you've really gotten a good look at it. It's like 8 feet tall, and you're like stabbing upward. But its face begins to split apart, and you can see it has a pendant around its neck that's kind of right at eye level because it's much taller than you, even though you're a pretty tall individual. This thing was massive. And you see, no roll needed, this pendant that it's wearing is the same sigil that you saw on Vactor, the warlock that y'all encountered earlier. The same sigil that he wore on his shoulder. And this creature's face just splits apart and falls, and it just collapses. Its massive 8-foot form as you have vanquished it. And Olivar cries out in victory.
Sweet.
It is done.
Okay. Can I take the pendant?
Yes. So the pendant is around its neck, and it looks pristine. It's a sigil of actually, if you zoom in on its form, you can see what it is. It's the same thing. I'm not going to change what it is. It's like an upside down trifold.
I put it on.
You're going to put it on?
I'm going to put it on.
Okay. Yeah, nothing happens.
Okay. All right. I'm going to move over here. That's my turn.
Okay. So, Sirocco, you see Mirmo walk up, and as she does, she pats you on the shoulder, and you feel a little bit of rejuvenation return to your form. You regain 8 HP as she speaks a little nice healing word into your person. And then she brings her mace up and tries to strike this thing. And she's able to score a hit, does a little bit of damage. This mace drives into its belly, and it is not happy about it. But it is still standing. A little bit more blood falls from its form, and Sirocco, it'd be your turn again. This thing does not look in good shape. It has multiple wounds from your spear, some wounds from Equilibrio earlier, and now another strike has struck it. Skeletal form, or its snake form, and it's bleeding from multiple wounds. Looks very angry.
Nice work, team. Almost did.
So, Sirocco, what do you got?
Sorry, I just got dropped. Okay. Snaky's still alive. I don't know why this shit keeps dropping. I'm gonna spear it.
Yep.
A boom.
That's a crit.
Oh, shit.
That's double damage.
Roll that beautiful bean footage. I don't know why did it give +4 on the second one?
Yeah, it's adding your...
+2 on 4.
Dexterity?
Well, you get your dexterity bonus from attacking with like a finesse weapon.
It should be.
If
It
that
should be +4 on both.
well, if that's accurate, even +2, that is a lot. That's how do you want to do this? It's not, that's a
So
shitload of damage.
I mean, I
You
kind of
only
want to
get
visualize
your-
it like striking at me, and I'm just like completely calm, and just like running the spear like straight through its mouth, and then out the back of its head.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to clarify, you only get your proficiency bonus once. So I mean, the rolls are correct. It adds the 1d8 plus your proficiency,
Gotcha.
plus your dex on the first one if you hover over it, and the second one's just the.
The damage.
My
My
does.
proficiency
on the
bonus
dice.
is +3 though, so that's what's weird.
Well, you're getting +4 on the. If you hover over the first one, it's
Right.
giving 1d8 +4 because your dex.
+2. Oh, I see. And then 1d.
So, I mean, this is your first
you
attack.
just double the dice for a crit.
Yeah, this is your first attack. You'd get 2 more in the turn.
Right.
Okay, so if you didn't get the +4 in the second one, it wouldn't be a kill, but it'd have like 2 health left. So there's almost a guarantee you'd kill it with the other 2 attacks. So I'm still going to say this is how you want to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you run it through, and it kind of rises up in its form as like the spear goes through its body, and it spews out blood out of its mouth. And Mirmo, Sirocco, and Equilibrio, y'all all see in the hallway behind you the walls of this house over behind you. There's like, so this, y'all can see there's multiple
Am I
doors
covered
over
in-
here.
So
You're now covered in Naga viscera.
No.
Yes. And all along the walls over here, you see the walls begin to ripple with energy right as this killing blow is delivered, and the walls start to bleed. Like just long drips of blood come out of the wall simultaneously and fall onto the floor. And the snake the Naga releases itself from your spear. You rip your spear out, and it falls backwards and collapses in the middle of the floor along this rug as blood pools all around this area. And all threats have been eliminated for the moment. And Darian, as you're sitting in that hallway right there, you just released from this rather familiar whispering, slurping darkness that you've experienced once before, and it's now gone. This deathlock that was causing it is in a heap on the ground as Malice split its head in two and then took its sigil and immediately put it on and walked away. Darian, you're sitting there and you have in a moment of is somebody dribbling a basketball? In a rather like strange singular moment, you as you're staring at the scene, Darian walks by you. Maybe you're starting to turn around. You have a moment where like you're staring down this hallway. On the end is a window, and then just right by it, there's two more doors you can see, and it's well lit. Looks normal. There's this rug. There's no blood coming out of the doorways, but you blink your eyes normally, and after you blink them, you look down the hallway again, and it's no longer lit. It's old and decrepit, and it's now filled with specters that look similar to the Deathlock, but they don't have like legs. They're kind of just floating in air, and they're all translucent. You can see through them, but they're all standing there side by side, and they're all looking in various directions, kind of floating, not paying attention. But then in this moment where you blink and you see this, they all turn and look at you simultaneously, and they all have yellow, glowing, ominous eyes. And then you blink again normally, maybe forcefully to avoid that, and it's gone. It's back to normal, and there's this dead Deathlock on the floor at your feet.
Whoa. Damn.
And that's it. So that's the opening scene.
Perfect timing. Can we do a long rest here?
Please try. Mirmo would kind of turn and look at everybody. She'd be like, guys, we might be in trouble.
Yeah, no shit, Mirmo. Thanks for bringing us this house of horrors.
Grinmus, that was incredibly out of character. He must have been compelled. I don't know why he would do that, but it looked like he went into a demi-plane, and I don't know how to get him out. And I think no, we can still do this. We just need to find the heart, and we can find Malice again, and we can figure out a way to convince him or kill him and get Grinmus back, and everything can still work. We just need to, like Grinmus said, keep our heads about us. At least we killed those things.
Yeah. Goodness knew. It sounded like he knew what he was getting into. And he would want us to forge on, and I think we'll be able to help him.
Indeed. I've never been alone on a case before, but I have y'all now. Alone as in I've never not been by Grinmus's side, so this is a little bit scary, but I think as long as we stick together, we'll be fine in the Mad Manicchus Manor. And she looks back at the paintings, and then it's a freeze frame.
So much alliteration. Sick.
I love alliteration.